What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Big Blue in the Bronx channel for a special trade deadline special live stream. We'll be streaming until be about 6 o'clock. It's 3:30 right now. 6 o'clock is when the deadline ends. But there's been so many trades that have went down. I am joined here to my right by Professor Angry John, and to my bottom here, Cade Kistner of Sports Illustrated. We'll start off with John and first thoughts, then we'll get to Cade.
Well, if anyone hasn't heard the news, I am extremely happy right now, okay? Getting a top prospect for Justin Verlander. Keep building the farm system up. Keep selling. Go ahead. Trade anyone and anyone who you want, Epler. I mean, I know I don't have much faith in you, but keep getting rid of guys, okay? Keep selling. We're not a good team, and I'll be a happy man. But also, Cade, thank you for joining. Your first thoughts.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me on, guys. This has been honestly probably the craziest, wildest trade deadline we've had in a long time. I mean, you look back the last couple of years, you've had some big moves, some blockbuster stuff, but this deadline, this trade season got started quickly and early, and it just hasn't slowed down. You look at the Houston Astros, the Texas Rangers, both getting one of the pair of Verlander and Scherzer, and just a lot of big names being moved. It's really exciting. I think it's really great for baseball too.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to report one thing here. This is also regarding John's team. Mets are still working on deals after the Verlander deal. FAM really are being discussed, and also Omar Narvaez is a potential piece to go. What's going on, Armand? Again, we appreciate you all being here. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Guys, as of yesterday, we hit 1,400 subscribers. We are a couple over that point, so please, if you're new here, share out, like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Let's see. We already got Phillies working on a Lorenzen deal, almost done. How about we hop into the Justin Verlander trade? Because that is, I would say, the biggest trade of late that has hit thus far. I'll start with John's perspective on it. I obviously know you're a Met fan, John, and then we'll get to Cade's perspective on it. We'll break down, I'd say, the most important deal by deal.
Well, I mean, when you look at what Epler has done this trade deadline, whether it's the Robertson deal, whether it's the Cano, Scherzer, Verlander now, I think they're starting to, or at least Steve Cohen is kind of got the voice of reason in there, but they're starting to learn that buying players on buying players and buying free agency is not how you're going to win. And essentially, they've kind of taken a new approach, is pretty much buy prospects, because in almost every deal, they've eaten up money, and Steve Cohen's willing to do that. But they're making sure they get some sort of quality prospect. Like Scherzer, they got the Acuna's brother, Angel Acuna. And in the most recent deal, the Justin Verlander, they get two outfield prospects, the number 1 and number 4 in the Astros system, Drew Gilbert and Ryan Clifford. Drew Gilbert's in Double-A, and Ryan Clifford is in High-A right now. So, again, nobody ready for this season, and maybe not even next year, but guys in the system to keep growing the prospect pool, because it has tremendously improved. Mets were lacking prospects, especially on the pitching side, which I guess they're going to still have to go after. But, you add now with everything they got, because all they really had was maybe Parada, Jet Williams, and Mauricio in AAA. Not much else after. A lot of depth possibly, but again, this is what they needed to do. They're not a playoff team. They're not going anywhere, so they need to be in full sell mode.
Cade, your thoughts on the Justin Verlander trade?
Yeah, so the Mets and the Astros are actually two teams I cover quite intimately, and so this is a pretty big trade. Verlander, he controlled his destiny, right, and where he went, and I think the Astros was probably the only team, or one of the very, very few teams that he was going to approve or waive his no trade clause to, and so that kind of gave a little bit more leverage, I think, to the Astros. It's a good deal, I think, for both sides. The Astros kind of they get their guy. It counters the moves that the Rangers made, being only half a game back from Texas in the American League West. And then on top of that, the Mets get back a pretty good prospect in Drew Gilbert. He's pretty close to being major league ready. Ryan Clifford has a pretty high ceiling. He's in, I think, High-A right now. He's 20 or 21 years old, so he's a guy that could he's kind of a lottery ticket. But I think it's a really good deal for both sides. I think too. I think that it makes the Houston Astros favorites in the American League West now.
Speaking of the Houston Astros, we also have another guest who is going to join us at this very moment. We have Eric Heisman from Locked On Astros, who they've just acquired Justin Verlander. Eric, man, how you doing? Give your first thoughts and your thoughts on the Justin Verlander trade.
Well, it was crazy. I was just about to do a podcast. I was literally doing an intro, and I said, well, the Astros are favorites for Justin Verlander. And then I saw all the reports that he was just traded to him. So I had to quickly pivot. So I'm not surprised that the Astros got Verlander. I thought that I've been hearing things for the past week that Verlander is only going to come to Houston. I think it was just a matter of the Mets getting Drew Gilbert, and Drew Gilbert was who the Mets wanted. Ryan Clifford was somebody I've heard that they were after as well, but the Astros were okay giving him up. But Drew Gilbert was, since the Astros don't have any top 100 prospects, I think that Drew Gilbert was their kind of George Springer, so to speak, somebody that the Astros can look forward in the future being their outfielder of the future. But unfortunately, it was just a situation where you have to give up somebody, and Justin Verlander still has possibly 2 years of control. I'm sure he's going to pitch 140 innings next year, and that vesting option of $35 million. The only question is how much are the Mets going to pay? Because the only reason why the Astros didn't bring it back last year was the money. And so now if the Astros are going to only pay 15, 20 million of that salary, that would be great. So if the Mets do that, we'll see, but we're still waiting on that. But that's a high price for a already thin farm system. But the Astros needed this ace. I know offensively they've struggled at times. The pitching has been fairly reliable. It's kind of taken a hit recently, but you needed somebody like Justin Verlander, and I think that he's going to be a lot more comfortable back in Houston.
Yeah, definitely. So we have to introduce the fifth member before we go to the next trade. Fifth member of our panel. It would only be Bad Takes Brian, Mr. CEO of Bad Takes. Brian is here, and Brian, if you're with us, tell us what's going on, man. Hope all is well.
Everything's going well. I just wanted to show off the profile picture because that's what the Yankees are going to do at this deadline. Pretty clear. Nothing but sleeping. Cashman's sleeping. But, it's going to be a thrilling day, as you guys have already been able to see. Everything's going very hectic right now. In fact, the Tigers are getting ready to move on from Lorenzen as we speak. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite prospects is getting moved back, which I'm not happy about. How you leave from the Blue Claws, also the Philly system, phenomenal second baseman. But in terms of everything, I'm excited just to see who's going to sell, who's going to continue to sell, who's going to buy, who's going to get hot, who's really going to get moved, and who at the last second is going to pull the plug. Like last year when the Yankees pulled the plug, or the Miami pulled the plug on a Gleyber Torres trade in Pablo Lopez. There was that little thing that happened. So let's see what could happen, what builds, and just going to be an exciting day up to 6 o'clock.
Oh, yes, it will. Just got to get to a couple of comments. Brad says, feeble as in John, Luca, and Brian. Freddie Freeman, the Mets are frauds.
Oh, God. So glad he could join us.
Lorenzen, the Phillies is done. Brian just remarked on that. What's going on? Yeah. Armid as well. Jets mess. What's going on? Guys, let's get to 10 likes. So, Brian, you're actually work part-time for the Jersey Shore Blue Claws. What do you see out of Hao-Yu Lee? I just looked at some of his stuff when it came to prospect rankings. He's a 5th prospect in the Philly system, 2025 ETA. He's supposedly someone with good hitting, right? He's hitting 279 in the season, I believe.
He's also sneaky quick. I could tell you that firsthand watching him doing work for them. He is someone who you put him on base. He's good at getting on base. That's one thing. His bat is consistent. He can put it anywhere you need it to be. His fielding is what's underrated. He doesn't have the build of a guy you would expect for a second baseman, like a thinner guy. He is obviously got a strong build to him, good arm. Everything screams like at least a mid-tier starter in the major leagues. I see it every time he hits the mound. Every time. Every time he's on the diamond. I've seen him every time, let's say we're in a walk-off situation, right? We got some way to beat, let's say Aberdeen, or it's got to be Brooklyn with the Cyclones. He comes to the plate, you just know something's happening every time. And you also, the biggest telltale sign is when you're watching a minor league prospect and you hear it off the bat. The way the ball comes off the bat, that's usually the big telltale sign of whether or not the guy's got something. He's one, and the other guy I've heard is Gabriel Rincones. He's another one that's been flying up recently. He has been building up well as an outfielder.
Armin has a quick rumor for us. According to Michael Schwab in Astros, right? The Astros are trying to land a bat. Eric, is that true?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't expect somebody like a big name bat, but I would expect somebody like off the bench. The Astros don't play who they should be playing anyway. Like Yainer Diaz should be playing a lot more. Chas McCormick should be playing a lot more, but I think that they need some power off the bench for sure. I know John Singleton is now in the minor leagues since he's was waived by the Brewers. He's hit 9 home runs with the Astros, and this is in a matter of a month. So I know that he could be optioned, but we don't know what we can expect from Michael Brantley. We signed him, and he hasn't swung the bat with the Astros this year, so we can't really count on him. So I expect that. I know they're looking for a left-handed bat. I don't know who fits that criteria at this point, but we've been focused on bullpen, and Cody Bellinger was somebody that the Astros were looking at, but that would be a very odd pairing, especially with the history between the two. But I know that the Cubs are not selling at this point, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and get a hitter. I just don't think it's going to be a big name hitter.
Yeah, I can't really think of any lefties at the moment. I know like Dylan Carlson's out there, obviously, but the Yankees are interested in him. He's obviously a 230 hitter, so I'm not sure if you really want that. Chomp is what's going on, brother. Says Yankees still haven't made a move, such a sad state of the franchise. Indeed. Armin says if the Astros need an outfield, this was before you made the comments, Eric. Mets have Tommy Pham, but he's not a lefty. He's actually a right-handed hitter, so that would be working against. But as John Heyman reports right now, Verlander deal is only awaiting medicals. Gilbert and Clifford are going back to the Mets, but money is going with Verlander at Houston. I'm very interested. I'm sure John's very interested, and Eric's very interested to see how much the Mets are going to pay for Verlander.
Yeah, I think that kind of justifies the prospects that they've given up. I mean, if the Mets are taking on a big portion of that, then it'll be worth it. I mean, I bringing back Verlander, it was worth it, but I think that Drew Gilbert and the Astros eating up a lot of the salary, they could have put themselves in that situation. But I think that they're trying to meet Jim Crane and Dana Brown were just like, let's try to meet halfway, and let's just go ahead and take on a little bit less of the contract and go and give up the extra prospect. And so I think that's what they ended up having to do. So now if they're taking up a big chunk of the pie, so to speak, and they gave up the 2 top prospects like they did, that's going to hurt down the road, but it could lead to 3 more World Series, but we don't know. And like I said, and we've heard this phrase, I'm sure y'all have heard this phrase too. Prospects are nice, but parades are better. And so we'll see what happens.
And it's interesting with the Verlander contract because he's going to be making $43 million this year and $43 million next year. Then he has the option after year 2. So it'd be really interesting to see if the Mets decide to eat half the money now or eat it in the back ladder of his contract.
Yeah, very much so. As into Eric's point about prospects and parades, I'm sure the Yankees don't know a thing about that. Just got to throw a shot out there. At least the Mets are picking up and coming players for these trades. Yeah, I'm sure John's very happy. And obviously, John was telling me in the pre-show, you know what? The Mets actually picked a direction. They've somewhat kind of learned that you can't really buy through free agency all the time. Obviously, Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander are 2 $40 million guys. And obviously, pitching remains a big question mark for the Mets because Kodai Senga remains their best starter because of Verlander and Kodai Senga leaving at the moment. And it leaves a lot of questions. Who's going to be on the back end? David Peterson, Joey Lucchesi, all that. So I'm sure John's happy with the youth up and coming youth movement. Right, John?
And Luke, I'll say this because, now what the Mets have done is they've given themselves, it might not be everyone's quality, but some are. But at least you give it like a decent amount of prospects because now you could start filling out your team and figure out who's for the future. And the guys you don't want that are young and up and coming, because obviously, they got a few shortstop prospects. They have a few catching prospects. They got some outfielders now. Plus, combine that with the guys already on the team that are locked in long-term, like a Lindor, like a Nimmo. You expect Pete Alonso. I don't think he's going to be traded. And there were some rumors today, but I doubt that. I personally would like to extend him at first base. But, that's how you can start filling out your pitching. You can get a pitcher or two for some of these guys, whether it's the people you have on your roster or the people in your system. That's when now you can decide, hey, we might like Beatty over Vientos, or we might like Vientos over Beatty, at third. So again, it's going to be interesting to see who makes it out of this group, because that's kind of what the Mets have. They have to be in evaluation mode for about 2 months about. And so that's how you're going to start building your pitching, whether it's this offseason, the next offseason, etc.
Anybody else can add thoughts on this, but I'm going to have John take the first thoughts on this. I saw one person, having some worry that Lindor, Nimmo, and Alonso are going to be around kind of a retooling, rebuilding team. Does that worry you at all? Or anybody else? Obviously,
having them
one after John.
Does it? What do you mean? Having them around worries me? What do you mean?
No. Like in terms of could they be unhappy while the team is retooling?
Or they could be bitter.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, you could be unhappy, but I kind of blame everyone on this year. You kind of caused the season with some of their play. Now, not those three specifically, to the extent of some other guys, but not all three of those guys have had their best season. I mean, there's been some struggles with them. There's been some struggles with other guys on the lineup. You can throw, a Starling Marte. He's been very disappointing, but I also think it's because of injuries. You could throw other veterans in there, and health concerns, like maybe Quintana not being there for a good pretty much 3 months almost. Other struggling starters, Peterson and Miguel, really struggled this year. So you can blame a lot of stuff, but you can be unhappy. I'm not going to say how you feel, but nobody really helped this situation.
Mm-hmm.
There hasn't been one real leader on this team, So I mean, you could be angry all you want and bitter, but they kind of put themselves in the situation, which is why I didn't also like the Max Scherzer comments after his final start, where he said, I have to talk to the GM now about the future of this team. Well, Max, I hate to break it to you, but you were pretty bad this year. This is probably your worst year of pitching. It was. Statistically, it probably was.
If anybody else has thoughts on that, you can reply to John, as I'm about to get to these comments. But anybody doesn't have any thoughts, I have some Mets news, and that is per Mike Puma of the NY Post, McGill is likely to take that rotation spot vacated by Justin Verlander.
Makes sense.
And actually, I know somebody who. Oh, here it is. Somebody was about to tell me how much it is, but the Mets are sending $54 million to the Astros to help out with Justin Verlander. So that's a big chunk of change. So I think that by sending the extra, sending Drew Gilbert, I think the Mets are paying a good chunk of it. So if you're talking about 17 plus 43 plus 35, what did I say it was? 53?
54 million, I think.
So that's $41 million the Astros could potentially pay for 2.5 years of Justin Verlander. That's not bad.
No, for them, no. And Steve Cohen does not care. I mean, this is a new owner who's kind of breaking the rules in the bank. There was one thing with Steinbrenner, but Steve Cohen has shown a willingness to spend, whether it's to take on players or to get rid of players. He does not care. This is like a toy for him. So, again, another solid move here to eat some money, but you get a good prospect in return.
Yeah, definitely. So Armin says, I believe Pete will not get traded today, but maybe in the offseason because of the lack of bats in free agency and could get a better package. But Pete's a free agent, right? So I don't think they would trade him in the offseason. Definitely not. Us Yankee fans are angry. I can't believe how far this team has fell. Neither do I. Just to address this, Mike Puma saying that Tyler McGill will take the spot. Cohen wants to win. You bet he does. And
Yeah,
Chapa's echoes the same thing. And the thing I obviously brought up regarding the Mets is like there's people saying, the Mets are not going to be competitive next year and the year after. But I do think, in my opinion, I even obviously said this before when they signed Verlander, like that window was very small for contending. Now you might be retooling the roster, but you're going to have so much of a better contending window as long as these prospects work out, John.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And they're not done. Like Lucas said in the opening remark, Rayleigh's on the block. Tommy Pham is on the block. Omar Narvaez is on the block. You could think of whoever might need those players: a lefty arm in the bullpen, a hitter, a good offensive piece in the outfield, and a backup catcher. I mean, I'm sure someone would want all three of those.
I got a name to keep an eye out for real quick. I just saw it on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Apparently the Cubs are planning to remove Trey Mancini from the roster. They couldn't tell though, according to the source, if that was a release or a DFA at the moment. But Mancini looks like he's on his way out from Chicago at the moment.
That's a shame because when the Astros traded for him last year, we really expected him to do a lot, and he just – I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's Dusty Baker didn't play him a lot or if he was just on his way out anyway. But I really wish the best for him because he had a great story. And so you kind of root for this type guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he's a good guy. He's lost almost all of his power over the last couple of years. Yeah. I mean, and then you saw too. I mean, he kind of struggled at first base. During the postseason with the Astros. He had one good snag there against the Phillies. I forget what game it was, like 5 or 6. They were in Houston, but then he gets to Chicago, and you're kind of hoping that maybe he's the guy that can hold down first base until a guy like Matt Mervis or something is ready, and just didn't work out. So. Unfortunately, maybe kind of another Eric Hosmer type guy you want to root for, but might be done.
Yeah. I was going to ask our guest in the panel here, and guys, you're in the chat, if you could fire away your comments and questions, we do appreciate it. And if you're new, so make sure to hit the subscribe and like button. But anyway, I was going to ask them maybe a general deadline question. Is there a team or a player that you guys feel is gonna either gonna make a move or somebody's gonna be moved? Is there one team or player that you have in mind at this moment? For anyone can
repeat the question. Sorry.
If there's a team that you expect to make a move, or if there's a player that you expect to be moved, who's the first person that comes to mind right now?
Eduardo Rodriguez is probably going to be moved because Michael Lorenzen's already been moved to the Phillies. And so I think the caution with him is I believe he has an opt-out after this year, but he does have potentially 2 years of control, but he could opt out after next year. So he's an interesting target. Jack Flaherty, I know he's not having the best year, but he is a buy low candidate and somebody that I thought the Astros could go after and kind of just fix them because the Astros have a way of fixing pitchers. And so I think some team can go out there and try to fix him. But there's some of those. I don't think the Padres are going to be selling any of their guys. It sounded like they were actually trying to go get Justin Verlander. So the market, there's so many teams that still think that they're in it. And so that's why it's a seller's market. That's why the Astros have to go above and beyond. That's why the Phillies had probably pay over what they wanted to pay for Michael Lorenzen. So that's how it is. With the new playoff system, you're just having to go above and beyond.
I think one guy, though, that could really get moved kind of in a blockbuster fashion, I think, is the White Sox moving Dylan Cease. I know that there's a high asking price. He's controllable through 2025, Cy Young finalist. But you look at what the White Sox have, what they've done, and they've started tearing down and getting rid of, Lance Lynn and, Giolito and those guys. I think that there's someone out there that is going to match the price for a guy like Cease. He's kind of franchise altering. And I think someone's going to meet the price. I think the White Sox will come down a little bit, but I just don't see how he kind of factors into their plans anymore moving forward with this tear down. And I think they can get some guys. I mean, the Orioles, the Dodgers, right? They've got some good farm systems that can pull off pull off a deal like this. So I think he's going to be a guy that moves, and that might be kind of the deal with the deadline.
Yeah, definitely. As Eric was actually mentioning, the two pitchers, Jack Flaherty and Eduardo Rodriguez, they do have strong markets with a little more than 2 hours left with the deadline per John Morosi. The Dodgers, Braves, Reds, Orioles, Marlins, and Diamondbacks are all looking at rotation upgrades. So that is that. A message from our leader, Big Blue in the Bronx. Alex, what up, y'all, from Giants Pads Camp? Appreciate Kate and Eric popping on. Appreciate everyone popping in the chat. Also, follow these guys with the links in the description. Yes, don't be afraid to follow these guys. Eric talks Strohs and Cade Kistner, obviously associated with Sports Illustrated. Just got a tweet here from Joel Sherman. Phillies after Lorenzen remain in play for a right-handed corner outfielder. Tommy Pham could be in play, so maybe the Mets pull off another in-division trade.
Possible. I know another name that was linked to them was Teoscar Hernandez from the Seattle Mariners. But other like Mets news, and there is like the report out there that Brooks Raley is a possibility of going to the Cubs, which has gained a little bit of traction in the last hour. It's not a done deal yet, but it is something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely. Just some other news and notes. Joel Sherman about 12 minutes ago tweeted that the Texas Rangers are also in the catcher market. Teams that include the Texas Rangers as well are the Rays, the Diamondbacks, and the Marlins, because I know he brought up Austin Hedges, who is a terrific defensive catcher. Obviously, he's not the greatest of hitter. So that is interesting. Is Jonah Heim injured? Because I think he's their starting catcher, right?
Yeah, he's hurt.
Yeah, so he's got a wrist injury, and they're gonna try and rest for 2 to 3 weeks, see how it goes. If that doesn't work, then he's likely gonna undergo season-ending surgery, right? So they've got Mitch Garver, obviously now playing every day at the catcher position, and they've got Sam Huff, who kind of an up and down AAA type guy. He's got a ton of power, just really hasn't come to fruition yet, and obviously Heim's a big loss for the Rangers right now because Corey Seager is also out. So, you're missing two of your biggest backs. And, Jonah Heim was the starting catcher for the American League All-Star team. So would not be surprised to see the Rangers make another move to add some depth at the catcher position.
Yeah, I myself was a very big fan of Jonah Heim, even voting him into the All-Star game. Just some news on the Michael Lorenzen trade. Obviously, How-Yu Lee was moved in that trade, but Lorenzen, who is nearing a career high in innings pitched, he's a veteran pitcher, obviously, could be used as either a starter or reliever down the stretch for the Phillies. He's a rental, and also I think it was per John Morosi as well. The Phillies could actually go with the 6-man rotation, and then their off day, I think, is August 11th, in which they will reevaluate their entire rotation. So you could probably see maybe after Lorenzen gets some starts, he moves into a long reliever role. So that's that there. Just some other notes. Haven't got anything much yet. Yankees receiving calls about their impending free agents, including Harrison Bader, who is claimed to be out of the lineup as of right now, but per Robert Murray, that is for off-day purposes and not for trade purposes. Let's see. I don't see any other news and notes, so we'll obviously keep you guys updated. I'm pulling up my notifications as right now, so some more updates for luxury tax purposes. Any money the Mets send the Astros to pay for the Verlander contract is treated identically to having that money on the payroll. So if they're sending $54 million to Houston, as reported, those are taxable payroll dollars for the Mets. So just a little news and notes there. I think Nightingale gave some sort of in-depth kind of thing. How many games out of the wild card do you see the Yankees shutting Judge down? Chompers, I did see like a report, I think it was like Jack Curry, the Yankees are still trying to get into it. Right now, I'm going to check the standings right now. I have them with me. The Angels actually jumped ahead of the Yankees because the Angels in third place in their division. The Yankees are 3.5 out. So when I'm going to say 5 to 7 games to shut down Judge, but ultimately, as that cynical Yankee fan that I am, I think they should just shut him down for the rest of the season. There's no point. So we'll obviously, guys, keep it updated. But another update. Joey Bart has been mentioned in Giants trade talks. The number 2 overall pick from the 2018 draft could be moved in the next 2 hours per John Morosi.
Oh, interesting.
Let me see where the Giants are in the division. I thought they would be like buying at this point. Yeah, they're second place, so
I mean, they did a little bit of buying, if I'm correct, yesterday when they got Pollock and Matthias.
Yes, sir.
That they did do, but also Pollock hasn't been having a great year. Not at all. Bad regression this year. But but Matthias has been doing pretty good in AAA. Could be somebody maybe comes up next year.
Yeah, I'm also looking. I'm just going to recap some of these notes. Robert Murray said today that the Braves are acquiring Brad Hand from the Rockies. I think it was Bob Nightingale who also tweeted this. The Braves won't do much of anything besides this because they are expecting guys like Max Fried back, Jesse Chavez back, so that's obviously a thing to look out for. Yesterday, the Blue Jays traded for Jordan Hicks, and they sent back Sam Roberse and Adam Kloffenstein. The Angels acquired Randall Grichuk and reunited with C.J. Cron. Obviously, Brian just mentioned the Giants trading for A.J. Pollock. The Reds traded for Sam Mole for right-hander Joe Boyle from the A's. Cubs acquired Jose Cuas from the Royals. The Rays acquired Adam Chavali for Kyle Manzardo, the first baseman. Paul Sewald going to the Diamondbacks as a bullpen arm. And those are functionally the main trades that are happening right now. So, again, guys, we'll keep you updated. Let's see. Got nothing yet, so still checking out the noties.
Quiet first half hour.
Yeah, so far, I would say.
Now, is there one team anybody thinks that, because I know one of the panelists mentioned about Dylan Cease being a name to watch. Is there one team you would say outright would make the hardest run for him?
I would have said the Astros, but I don't know if they still would go give up anything after giving up what they did for Verlander, but I don't think they have the bullets to go out and get him. I know there's talk about Cease and Robert where they would possibly have to give up Chas McCormick and Hunter Brown and some of their big league pieces to get that deal done. But I mean, it could still happen. They could still be going after Luis Robert. I know that would be a little bit upgrade over Chas McCormick, but he's been kind of one of their offensive guys. But I think that you never know what the Rays will do. The Rays could need another starter. There's who knows with Nathan Eovaldi going down. I don't know if the Rangers are going to do something silly and go out there and get another starter. So we don't know what's going on. I know the Braves are looking for another starter. So there's just so many teams in right now. It's really hard to know what's really going on until somebody says, oh, by the way, their talks have ramped up. Then 30 seconds later, oh, by the way, Justin Verlander has been traded to the Astros. That's how it's been traded on.
I got an answer of a team that I don't know if they will because the ownership might not, but I think the perfect fit right now would probably be Baltimore, just because they have the prospects to get them, and they can use I like Tyler Wells a lot. I think he's a really good 2 in that rotation, maybe a 3. And then obviously you have the rookie Grayson Rodriguez to build for the future. But I think you added Dylan Cease, a guy with control. You probably would have to give up, some of your better prospects. Obviously not a Jackson Holiday, who's probably their best prospect, but maybe I don't know, a Joey Ortiz in that system. Or if you want to go one of your guys in the major leagues, Jordan Westberg, you're going to have to give someone like that just because the O's do have a deep farm system, so they do have the guys that are expendable, but they really can use another starter if they want to go for a deep playoff run this year with their kids.
Yeah, I like the Orioles. I piggybacking on Eric, I don't think the Astros are. I mean, they Dana Brown went on to 790 AM Sports Talk. And already said, they weren't really going to be playing in the starting pitching market, Sunday. And then here we are with Verlander. So I don't think they have the ammunition or even close to it to get something done for Cease. But yeah, the Baltimore Orioles, they were in on Verlander. There were kind of discussions with that. They've kind of been in on every other starting pitcher that's kind of been mentioned. And so I think Dylan Cease too, he kind of fits perfectly with their timeline, their window of contention, where they're at, as well as some things that the White Sox might want in return. I think it's and then you look at salary too and things like that. I think if it's going to happen, it's going to be the Baltimore Orioles.
I think there's one other team I would possibly say could be a dark horse because I think starting pitching is something they could add. I'd say Cincinnati. Cincinnati's been very quiet all the way around. They could use some extra starting pitching. A decent move for Cease would be really helpful for them because that central race is getting very competitive between them, the Brewers, and the Cubs.
Yeah, the Brewers are 1.5 out and the Cubs are 5 out. John, you were about to say?
It's sad because I would throw the Reds in the same category as the O's. I just don't think they have the prospects, but they're very similar in terms of the young talent they have. But I don't know if the ownership is willing to pay top dollars for these starting pitchers. And that's really the sad issue. Because I want these teams to go for it. I want the young, fun teams to go for it and, to have success. But it's just a matter of what are the owners willing to spend on these small market teams.
Yeah, I'd say Angelos would be more willing to pay, in my opinion, than Castellini, but that's not really saying much. But in terms of some more news, I know it's some late news. We haven't really gotten much more trades yet. The Mets are going to be paying $35 million on Verlander's deal for this year and next year, then half of the $35 million in 2025 if that option triggers. So that's an update on the finances. And I got to ask John something. There's two things. Obviously, you guys are also allowed to respond as well. I saw a Mets fan complaining, actually, if Cohen is eating the money on Verlander and Scherzer, why didn't he just sign DeGrom back?
Because he was hurt always, and that wouldn't make sense. I don't get the complaint there. I mean, DeGrom literally got hurt. I mean, I'm not wishing for it, but he literally got hurt and is out for the season again. That's kind of why. He does. Verlander and Scherzer might be older, but if they were selling, right, and let's say they signed DeGrom for even a short-term contract, I doubt you get as much back just because of the injuries history. I mean, Verlander and Scherzer have been. I know they've had Verlander's had some injury history in his past, but recent years, for the most part, they've been healthy. Whether it was Scherzer, whether he was a National or Dodger, or when Verlander, his first stint with the Astros, he was healthy for the majority of those games. So I don't get that complaint from whoever said that.
And I also saw that same person say that they're afraid that Cohen would not be able to pay Ohtani because he's eating all that money. I'm like, he doesn't really care.
No, he will spend money. He does. I mean, do I think we're going to get him? No. Deep down, I don't think it's going to happen. But it's not to say they can't do other moves. I mean, there's the other kid in Japan, Yamamoto, who's been getting raved about. Who, I mean, if the Mets want to go after him for a starting pitcher, fine. We'll build Team Japan in our rotation. We'll have Senga and we'll have Yamamoto, and we'll go from there.
Yep. I'm actually just saw a Mets headline right here. I just bookmarked it, and that is per Tim Healy, beat reporter for the Mets, regarding call-ups to fill roster spots of the traded guys. His understanding as of a week plus ago was that the Mets did not view Ronnie Mauricio as particularly close to being ready for the big leagues. So he does not expect it this week. We'll see what happens in the next 2 months.
Makes no sense.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
I could understand if there was guys that were blocking him, but you can't tell me that Danny Mednick deserves a spot over Ronnie Mauricio at this point.
We've got another trade, and that is the Brewers are trading for Andrew Chafin from the Diamondbacks.
Oh, interesting.
Haven't gotten the obviously the sources of the deal yet, or at least the details. But are the Diamondbacks selling? I'm curious because they're in the wild card. I thought Chafin would be they would keep him for the bullpen.
I don't know about selling. I feel like they've been doing a mix at the same time. They did take Canna from the Mets, but at the same time now they've given up Chafin.
Oh, I was talking about the Diamondbacks.
I thought you were talking about the Brewers.
No. I was talking about the D-backs, but the D-backs are in the wild card. I think they have the third wild card spot.
Yeah, so the Diamondbacks they made a trade with the Mariners for Paul Sewell, the closer, right? So I think what Arizona is doing right now, they're a smaller market team. They've got a good front office and pretty smart, pretty shrewd. And so I think what the Diamondbacks right now are doing is they're kind of doing a mixture, right? So they're kind of dealing from a position of strength. I think Andrew Chafin was kind of some excess on that roster. I think he's also got an ERA right now north of 4. He's got 8 saves this year, so he's kind of more of a middle relief type guy. So I think he was just kind of excess fat on the for the Diamondbacks, and so why not move him and get something for him, right? So I think that's kind of what that deal was about.
Fair enough. You obviously help out another team, the Brewers. Brewers obviously still in the wild card as well. Here's how the wild card stacks out for the National League. You have the Giants, obviously a game up. Philly's the second wild card team, and then there's a 3-way tie for the third wild card: Arizona, Miami, and Milwaukee. So that is how it is there. Armin says, I would like Urias and Yamamoto for the rotation next year.
I would hold off on Julio Urias. I would hold off on him. He's had a very shaky season. I don't know if there's something wrong with him health-wise, but would hold off on giving him the big dollars.
Brad says, there's one for Brian being Brian. Yes. When it comes
always
to
is. There has to be one moment every stream.
There was one for you last night too, even though you weren't even on. You somehow ruined the MLB Immaculate Grid.
Yes, I did. Wait, no, it was the NFL one. The NFL we did.
Well, you regardless, you ruined it.
Yeah, because I was completely convinced that C.J. Spiller played for the Chargers at some point. I don't know why. I thought he did. I was completely convinced.
Probably think of somebody else. What's going on, MH? A fellow Mets fan of ours. Again, guys, hit the like button, subscribe. We're obviously trying to keep update with you. It's been kind of slow thus far while we've been streaming with the trades, although we just heard, obviously, Andrew Chafin has been acquired by the Milwaukee Brewers because the Diamondbacks are kind of buying and selling at the same time, as Cade was mentioning, the excess bullpen. So Chafin gets to help out the Brewers. Who is this mustache? Which mustache are you talking about, MH?
I think he's talking about Chafin, because I know he's got the. Oh, was he? Oh, was he referring to the panel?
Yeah, I guess he was, but MH is celebrating the fact the Mets have gotten the number 1 and number 4 prospects.
Yeah, Drew Gilbert's is a good player. He was the number 1 pick for the Astros last year, and Ryan Clifford was a guy that the Astros went way above the slot value to make sure they signed him. So, yeah, those are big losses to the Astros farm system. So the Mets got a big haul there, but they had to give up a big chunk of Justin Verlander's salary to get that done. So the Astros are responsible for only $39 million of the possible $93 million of Verlander's contract. So, yeah, you have to give a little bit to get a little bit, I guess.
Yep. For a 40-year-old pitcher, yes, MH paying for it. Some details on, I believe this is Bo Bichette. Good news for the Blue Jays is there's no significant structural damage for Bo Bichette per manager John Schneider. He won't be in there today. IL stint has not been ruled out, but the Jays will play it out for a couple of days first. Everybody else is reporting, obviously, of the Andrew Chafin deal, but Joel Sherman was actually good enough to do a breakdown on the Mets' return for Justin Verlander. Gilbert is a well-rounded center fielder, contact approach that gives you good at-bats and uses the whole field. Above-average runner, solid defender in center, and above-average arm strength. He's a grinder, good all-around player, and he reminds the evaluator of Brett Gardner, the former Yankee. So,
does he hit the ceiling too?
Yes, I do remember that 4 years ago. I can't believe, but number 2, but similar approach to the plate. Clifford is also a good prospect who has feel to hit with power, sneaky, really good prospect, great swing. Should be a good offensive first baseman when all said and done. Would say both guys could be everyday players. So that's a little update, obviously, on the Mets side of things. A little breakdown. I'm still going to see if there's been any more rumors. Still reporting the Chafin deal. Nothing has been brought from that yet, as in terms of details. So we'll still wait.
I'm a little confused on why the Brewers went after him, because I feel that the Brewers already have a strong enough bullpen, and that's probably the best part of their team, as opposed to either going after a starter or another bat in the lineup. I know they got Canna yesterday for a bat, but I don't really think I don't think it puts them over. I don't see either of those moves making a statement and saying, we're definitely gonna take over the division from the Reds. Like, I still feel like they're neck and neck, even, in terms of who can win that division.
Good point made there, John. As obviously we're still looking for rumors. Nothing. I gotta agree with you there. Here's another thing this is regarding the Yankees. This is nothing trade deadline related, but obviously baseball related. Aaron Judge's toe is sore again, which is why he's the designated hitter.
Is it
tonight
the
again.
same toe that was?
Same toe.
That's not good.
Shut him down. Shut him down. Have the surgery and then move on.
Just breathe in, Luke. I understand. Breathe in.
I mean, I'm not even stressing out about it, John. It's just
No, I know, but I would be pretty upset. I understand.
the Yankees are a laughing stock, and that's obviously me being a Yankee fan. But
I've been saying this forever. They just need to abandon the season at this point. And it sucks because the immediate context is for the Yankee fans, you still have a winning record. You should be fine. You shouldn't be complaining. But with a team that's always has high expectations to be in the playoffs every year, with a roster that should be getting us to the playoffs, it just doesn't make sense. So I'm just perfectly fine with just abandoning ship and getting rid of stuff. Just call it, close the season out, regroup in the offseason. Just do it. I'm just on board with it.
MH says yes. He asked about the panel's mustache. Well, obviously we got Brian to our bottom left and Eric to our bottom right. What assets you guys got? I still think he's talking about facial hair, but Brad says the Yankees are more feeble than the Feebles.
Yeah, that could make sense. Quick funny side note, actually, because we do talk about other sports as well. And this is more so of an ESPN news, as reportedly they are interested in bringing back their own once Colin Cowherd.
Dear God. Please don't.
So that is
that's a new note.
That is something that was reported. Just thought I'd throw it out there because it is a little funny, but
Armin says Mike Puma also reports the Mets' tentative plan is to start David Peterson on Friday in Baltimore. Cookie would pitch the series finale in Kansas City. I know John's not too happy about David Peterson, but obviously there's no really other starters on the come up.
It's been now. I mean, now the shot is theirs for the rest of the year. So whether it's Peterson, Miguel, now it's prove it. Like, all right, prove that you could be part of the rotation next year. Or if not, we got to find new guys.
Yep.
And so far, they have.
Feinsand update.
Go ahead.
Feinsand saying that the Pirates will be trading Austin Hedges in the next 90 minutes. They just still trying to figure out the teams because there's 4 or 5 still talking to them all at the same time. But Hedges will be on the move.
One of them's the Astros.
Yeah, definitely the Rangers.
If you guys need catching help, we have Omar Narvaez. Anyone's interested?
We have a Roard vet. That's all I can say.
Well, we can't really even trade Roard vet, to be fair, because Higashioka sucks. But at least with the Mets, they have a left-handed hitting catcher in Narvaez. So
I will always have a soft spot for Higgy, though. He was one of the first players I watched in the minors when he was playing in Staten Island for the Yankees in the New York Penn League. I'll always have a soft spot for him. So,
John, let me ask you this: a Mets fan friend of a friend of mine was just talking about this. Would you trade for Brandon Woodruff or Shane Bieber this offseason?
It depends what we give up. Because obviously, now that you're, like I said earlier, now that you're getting all these prospects, maybe not this offseason is the right time to pull the trigger now that they're in full sell mode. But, I mean, they could go after someone in the free agent market. That's fine. But you got to figure out who's going to be pitching on the staff and whether it's starting in bullpen because, if Raley gets traded, there's really no one in the bullpen that is that should count as a major leaguer. I mean, I know they technically still have Adam Ottavino, but let's face it and be real. He's been erratic and maybe average at best. And in terms of starting pitching, the only guy that you really have and know going for the future is Kodai Senga. Because other than that, it's a whole lot of mystery and, Jack and the Beanstalk type pitchers.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, bringing up John's point about starting pitchers, Mike Mayer of Mets Minors, co-host of Mets Mirage Pod, member of, let's see here, he's Baseball Writers of America, also mentioned 2 hours ago that the Mets are getting late interest on Jose Quintana.
I mean,
he hasn't pitched much this year. So
he hasn't pitched much. So I mean, they'd be pretty much be free whatever you can get for him. But going back to the catcher news for the Rangers, earlier it was reported that the White Sox have discussed sending Yasmani Grandal to them.
Yep.
Which I don't know how Rangers fans would like that because he has definitely fallen off from a few years ago, but that is a rumor that is being thrown out there.
Yeah, I mean, so I live in Dallas, Texas, and so I spend most of my time over at Globe Life Field.
Are you a Rangers fan?
I cover baseball at the national level, so I'm not a fan of any team, right? But I spend most of my time at Globe Life Field. Yeah, I don't know. Yasmani Grandal, again, you've got Mitch Garver, right? I think he's in the final year of his contract here, and he's finally doing what the Rangers, wanted him to do when they traded for him from I think it was the Twins, right? So, Jonah Heim going out kind of sucks, but the fact that Mitch Garver is your insurance policy is pretty good. And again, I was kind of talking about Sam Huff earlier, right? He's not really proven at the major league level, so going after a guy like Austin Hedges or Yasmani Grandal, I mean, the Rangers are just really looking for a guy, right, that is a veteran backstop that can work well with the pitching staff. A catcher coming in at the trade deadline doesn't really have a whole lot of time to get to know his pitching staff. You're not looking for him to be the next, defensive, game calling whiz like Martin Maldonado. But you're looking for someone to kind of get in there, eat up innings, and give your starter like Mitch Garver a little bit of a break, especially because Garver's been injured and he really hasn't had a ton of innings behind the plate in the last 2 seasons. So you're going to need a guy like Yasmani Grandal. Honestly, I'd love to see them go after a guy like Austin Nola, who is, I believe, the Padres optioned him to AAA. And so, he's a guy that might be ripe to trade for the Padres. I think he would be kind of exactly what the Rangers are looking for over I don't even know how old, Grandal is, but he's probably in his mid-30s, I think. So I wouldn't necessarily love the move, but I would understand it. I don't think it moves the needle either way for the Rangers.
Fair enough. Just get some comments real quick. The Yankees are where they are, and they're at the bottom. Their record shows they can't compete in the AL East. The other teams are younger and hungry than the Yankees. They also just have better leadership. Quite overall, Bieber, yes, because he has control. Armin says, obviously Mets fan, regarding the trade scenarios. Noah Woodruff, because he will be going into his walk year next year. I wonder what other trade pitchers could be on the trade market next year. Obviously, maybe Cease if he doesn't get moved, but I think he gets moved soon enough.
He might. I mean, they also might hold on to him just because he's still young. But again, you're assuming the White Sox are going to be good in the next 2 years, which they might not be, and that might be a mistake for them because his value it's never going to be this high again. So, would be a smart idea to move him.
The White Sox are just stuck in purgatory, honestly, or just close to the bottom. Because they were good like 2 years ago, but just haven't really made that jump.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to rebuild over their rebuild. So they're going to go through another full rebuild, it looks like.
Only makes sense, but they've got some talented pieces over there, like Robert and Jimenez, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Still haven't got anything new, but guys, throw in your comments as well. Burns and Woodruff will be both going into their walk years next year. Brewers most likely shop both this offseason. I know John would love a trade for Corbin Burns.
Oh, yes, I would definitely take him in a heartbeat. He's been one of the better pitchers for the past few years now. So, again, he's having another solid season this year. So I would You could sign me. You could sign me up for him in a heartbeat.
Yep. Dylan Carlson, who the Yankees have shown interest in, is in tonight's Cardinals lineup, batting ninth and playing center field. So nobody knows if he's going to get moved yet. Still nothing yet. Still very slow. Not like last year's deadline. I thought last year's deadline moved faster. But the most recent update I have is regarding Austin Hedges, and that was he's going to get traded in the next 90 minutes.
Luca,
yes.
Just a quick side note, while it is a little slow, should we do an MLB Immaculate Grid today?
Why not? I will pull up the Immaculate Grid myself, and then we could all do with it. Now, the Astros are actually on this Immaculate Grid, so I'll be feel free to share it.
Do you guys, everyone knows how the Immaculate Grid works?
No idea.
You never played it?
I have not ever played this.
Okay, so you get 3 categories on top, 3 categories to the left. Basically, you got to guess a player that's, fits the categories for each box. And there's going to be percentages next to the players. And that adds up to a rarity score. The key goal is like the lower the percentage, the better the guess, because you want the lower the rarity score. So we got to think of the strategy that me, Luca, and Brian do it. We try and think of players that are outside the box or just people that wouldn't be thought of. We try to avoid the obvious answers. But if you guys have guesses, feel free to shout out. And
Champa's deadline ends at around 6. So right now, as news moves slow, we'll do the Immaculate Grid. So panel free to guess, chat free to guess. I'm still thinking,
So it's players that have played on both teams?
Yeah.
Or something? So is Phil Garner one of them?
For which one?
For like the Brewers and Astros?
Did he play for them or did he manage for them? Because I don't think they really do managers, but it's more of, players, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here.
I know a popular guess would be Zach Greinke for the Angels and the Brewers, or the Astros and the Brewers. That's popular. I guess it would be a popular guess. Obviously, we already mentioned John Singleton, who's also played for the Brewers. Carlos Gomez
would be a good option. I got one for the Mariners Rays. I don't know how popular it would be. Just
Mariners Rays, John. I don't see Rays.
All right, Mariners Blue Jays. Jesus.
Okay.
Robbie Ray is the guy I'm thinking of.
I think I'd actually go. I'm going to go with a rare one here, John Olerud.
That's actually, I think that'd be a rare one. I don't. All right, let's see the percentage. Get
15%.
All right. That's not horrible.
Not terrible.
Brian, you can help. Just don't sabotage.
I don't think a lot of people would guess Carlos Gomez for the Astros, and
I agree on that one. We can put Carlos Gomez for that.
Let's
see. Carlos Gomez.
15%.
All right.
Okay.
Solid. Let's see it.
For Mariners and Astros, you've got Kendall Graveman and Teoscar Hernandez, I believe, in recent times.
I think Kendall Graveman might be a good one to use. Not a lot of people think of relievers.
Mm-hmm.
True.
There's that player that had issues with anal something, but I can't remember his name.
What?
Anal Fishers. It was a Japanese player. I can't remember his name, but we traded for him, and he had some issues with that. But I can't remember his name. But I think we got him from the Mariners. But I can't think of his name.
I'm not Googling that. Japanese anal fissures.
Should we do? Can you do Rowdy Tellez for Toronto and Milwaukee?
Ooh,
could Rowdy work?
That's probably going to be pretty popular, though.
That might.
That's true.
Because the only one I could think of is another Brewers guy, Thames.
Eric Thames.
What about the reliever on the Brewers, Payamps? Wasn't he a Blue Jay too?
Payamps?
Ooh.
The reliever on the Brewers.
Joel Payamps?
Yeah, wasn't he a Blue Jay as well at one point?
I got it.
I think. By the way, I just want to
Okay,
say I think I know
Eric
who the
Kratz
players-
for the Wait, never mind. That's for. I thought we were doing Blue Jays. Never mind.
It's all right. I was actually going to get to the player you referenced, Eric. Kazuo Matsui. That's the
That's who it
Japanese
was,
ball
yeah.
player. Who used to actually be a former Met.
He
Okay.
was that. You know what's funny? I didn't even remember that. That's. Oh, damn it! We're not gonna have a perfect grid today.
Oh, he didn't
All
come
right.
from
We
Mariners.
can still
I swore he
guess.
did.
Let me double check.
I swore it's from Mariners. Mm.
Luka hit the
Matsui.
wrong one.
No, I didn't. Matsui was
Oh.
never a Mariner. He actually came from the Rockies, I think. But I do know a player who played for the Mariners and Astros, and it was actually Nori Aoki.
Okay.
0.8.
That was good. That was good. That was good.
I'm thinking Angels 30 stolen bases. I don't know how popular it'd be, but Sean Figgins.
Mm.
I don't know how popular he did it in the 2000s. I remember he was a fast guy.
14%.
Okay.
Great.
Brian Hunter with the Astros. I think it's Brian L. Hunter.
Okay.
Eric, did Marisnik ever have a 30 stolen base season?
No.
No. That's surprising. He's quick.
I don't know which Brian Hunter it is though.
Damn.
I'll
How many
look
Brian
it up
Hunter?
on the internet.
How many
Let's
Brian
see,
Hunters
Brian-
are there?
There's two Brian Hunters. That's why I said Brian L.
Yeah.
See.
Let's see. He started his career in. Okay, it's 94 to 03. 94 to 03. 0.2%. Good guess. We got 3 more guesses left. We could take any of the 4, obviously, but it's only
The
3. We have
Blue Jays 30 stolen bases. I don't know how popular it'd be, but Roberto Alomar definitely had a season of 30 stolen bases with them. I don't know how popular it would be though.
Let's see. 31%.
Yep, that was a lot. I think I got one more we could do for Brewers Jays. I just thought of it
Oh.
now. A pitcher,
Okay.
Marco Estrada. I think
That
Estrada had a few years on each team.
that
he a
or
Brewer?
yeah, Estrada was a Brewer before he was a Jay. Another guess is Sean Markham. Played with the Jays in like 2010, and I think he joined the Brewers in 2011 for a few years.
Sean Markham. Okay. We can use that as a guess.
So I'm going to use Sean Markham. 1%.
Wow. Yeah, that was good. Okay.
I could think of someone for the Brewers, Angels, Jonathan Lucroy.
Luke Roy's a good guess.
Oh, yeah.
And the other guy I'm thinking of, I don't know if he may be more obvious, but Mike Moustakas.
Stock is a good guess. Zach Greinke is another one. Obviously, he's a little on the more obvious side. I'm still thinking of more. I don't think Lyle Overbay played for the Angels. I'll double check that. See, it not. So Overbay is not a guess. Let me think of others. I guess we'll go with Moustakas.
Moustakas? Okay.
I totally forgot that Greinke pitched a season in Anaheim.
Yeah, it was I think 2012 actually. It was the year after the Brewers made the playoffs. They traded him at the deadline.
Yeah.
Moustakas gets us an 8%.
All right. So thank you. Because I think Eric has to take off.
Yeah.
Don't know when, but thank you for joining with us
All right,
today.
no problem.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate you coming on. If you want to offer any final thoughts, you can before you leave.
No, I just think that the Astros did a good job. I think they still need to. It would be nice to get another reliever. The bullpen has been good, but Dusty Baker's been kind of over relying on forearms, and they're starting to show some wear and tear. It would be nice to get another bat, but I think Justin Verlander kind of gets them to where they need to be at this point in the season. And good luck to the rest of y'all's teams as they approach the playoffs, because once we know October hits, it's Astro season. So that's all I got to say.
Yep, they're getting themselves back into the mix. But thank you, Eric, for coming on, man. Guys, if you haven't already, in the description, his stuff on his social media is definitely there. So thank you for coming on, man.
All right, no problem. All right, bye.
Later, man. All right.
So we got some news here, some Cubs news. So Mancini has been DFA'd. So
it's officially DFA'd?
Okay. Officially DFA'd, and that makes room for Candelario to be added back to the roster, or added to the roster. So,
just put out a whole list of guys for 90 minutes away from the deadline to keep an eye on. Full list. So it looks like starting pitching, he said some names we already talked about: Eduardo Rodriguez, Jack Flaherty, Jose Quintana, James Paxton, and Dylan Cease. Relievers, it's Scott Barlow and Brent Suter. And for the outfield, Profar, Teoscar Hernandez, Pham, Carlson, and Adam Duvall. Those are the guys.
To be honest, I'm really surprised that Scott Barlow hasn't been moved. I mean, the Royals moved Chapman so early to the Rangers, and I thought Barlow would probably go before Aroldis did. So the fact that he's still kind of sticking around, I mean, the Royals have no use for him. I have no idea why he's still on their roster right now. So that should be a done deal to some bullpen needy type team. So,
right,
yeah, I got 2 Mets notes actually. There's one comment from one of John's favorite WFAN hosts, and then there's some Max Scherzer comments post Mets. So I thought I'd remark on Evan Roberts' comments first. His instant reaction to the Verlander trade. They've received no pitching prospects back after trading 2 Hall of Famers.
Oh, okay.
But as I plug in my charger here, Max Scherzer kind of ratted on Billy Epler to The Athletic.
What did he say?
There's a lot here. He says, I talked to Billy, Scherzer told The Athletic. I was like, okay, are we reloading for 2024? He goes, no, we're not. Basically, our vision is for 2025, 2026, 25 at the earliest, more like 26. We're going to be making trades around that. And Max said, I was like, so the team's not going to be pursuing free agents this offseason to assemble a team that can compete for a World Series next year? He said, no, we're not going to be signing the upper echelon guys. We're going to be on the smaller deals within free agency. 24 is now looking to be more of a kind of a transitory year. Epler, according to Scherzer, went on to say the Mets were open to trading not only players who become free agents after 2023, but also after 24. That group included Justin Verlander, obviously just traded just now, Pete Alonso, and I don't know who else was mixed in that scenario. So
if that's true, they can't. They need to lock up Alonso. They can't trade him away. That would be a disaster if he did that. That I wouldn't forgive him for. You want to get rid of the older pitchers? Fine. But he's a core franchise player for the Mets.
Of course, he's obviously somebody you build around. You've been building around him since 2019. Only one playoff appearance.
Mm-hmm.
We have one deal that fell apart already.
Really?
With the Royals and the Marlins, they were working on a trade to get Salvador Perez to Miami, and it fell apart, apparently. A couple hours ago. Apparently, what Casey was asking back, the Marlins could not facilitate, so the deal died. So Perez was being entertained.
He's having such a good season, right? He's having a good season offensively.
Yes, good year for him.
Yeah.
And he's like 30-something years old at this point. He's 33. 17 homers, 44 RBIs, 247. The OBP is a little bit questionable at 289, 719 OPS. So, interesting stuff there. Thank you, Brian, for the update. As still slow, haven't seen anything else.
And Michael K also is sounding off on the Yankees as we speak.
Well, if you're an honest fan, he knows how to talk on both sides of his mouth.
Yeah. He said, if the Yankees don't do anything here, what an unbelievable message you're sending to your fan base. That was his words. And Boone was did his little press conference talking about, what the plan is today. He said it could go many directions. We could do absolutely nothing, or we could just get rid of a lot of guys. He's like, there's just no way to predict how the offense is going to do, what the offense is going to do today.
That makes sense. I mean, with Michael K, I tend not to like Lucas said, he talks on both sides, but if you're a Yankees fan today, you number one, I mean, there was rumors earlier that they might sell someone on with a 1-year deal left, and they're not going to be buying like a Dylan Carlson player, or I know last week there was even like Seth Brown from the Athletics, but you can't be you can't be complacent at the moment, especially if you're last in the division.
Right.
You need to get assets for whatever you can, because the team simply is not good enough. And, if Aaron Judge's toe is bothering him again, then it's really not good enough. So, again, not something you want to hear.
The Yankees are kind of this weird kind of enigma to me right now, right? They're last in the division, but they're 3.5 games or something like that out of the wild card.
Yep.
Right. But so to make you're going to have, here's where I think the American League wild card ends up. I think the number one is going to be the Texas Rangers, because the Houston Astros are going to come back and win the division.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the Tampa Bay Rays, and then the Toronto Blue Jays. But you got to tell me, are the Yankees better than the Blue Jays right now? No. I'm going to say probably no. Are they better than the Rays? No. Are they better than the Orioles? No. Are they even better than the Red Sox right now?
No.
And then you have, Aaron Judge, right? And it stinks, but he missed the majority of the first half of the season. They doled out a monster contract to keep him a Yankee, make him a captain, all that, pomp and circumstance. And then you've got, Giancarlo Stanton, in his deal that kind of hamstrings the Yankees, right? Mm-hmm. And so I just don't see a way in which you can sit there and mortgage even a portion of your future to go out and get any type of guys that you think you're going to become better than the Blue Jays or the Orioles or the Rays or even the Red Sox overnight, right? But again, you don't want to send the message that you're selling either. So, maybe the best thing they do is absolutely nothing. And sometimes that's the best thing to do. And then you give your guys a shot to go out there and make up that ground. You're not getting rid of anything. They have a positive run differential. They're not a bad team, and maybe the cards kind of fall your way here in the last third of the season down the stretch. You never know. So if I'm a Yankees fan, I mean, it kind of stinks, right? You want to add a guy, you want to add that superstar that you think is going to push you over the edge, but cost benefit, return of investment. I think the Yankees, you stay put. That might be your best course of action here, not only for this season, but also for the future.
Brian, you have a trade for us.
Yes, I do. This hasn't been reported yet by the big guys, but I do follow Craig Mish, who's the Marlins reporter. He just reported they're getting Jake Berger, and the return is that the White Sox are getting the pitching prospect Jake Eater in the deal. So the Marlins just added a good power bat, big home run hitter to their lineup, which is crazy because the Marlins hitting's been top 10 in the league this year. So to even add more to that's absurd.
And Jake Eater was their number 4 prospect in the Marlins system.
Yep.
Who's been better than double A as opposed to single A. He's a left-handed pitcher, so a good pickup for the White Sox to sell on a high on a guy there. So not bad at all.
It's continuing the story. They're just going to continue to sell what they have because they know they are done for the year.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the name isn't Luis Robert, everybody's open.
Yep. No, it makes sense to listen.
Another note regarding Joel Sherman. He says, heard the Rays have been trying to find a bat-first outfielder and can currently open the spot by trading Manuel Margot, who's owed $10 million in 24, $12 million in 25, with a $2 million buyout. Unlikely to be able to line up both to make it happen.
We'll give you IKF. Problem solved.
That first outfielder, was he hitting 255 on the season?
Listen, he's the trend in the recent couple months. He's been batting over 300. I wouldn't sleep on it. The
fact that he's like one of the most consistent hitters is kind of embarrassing.
But again,
257 on the season.
And they were also saying that before the Blue Jays made that trade earlier, that they were talking to the Yankees about getting IKF.
Yep.
They were talking about it, and then that fell apart because they found something better. So
obviously, I know you talked about the Marlins trade with Perez, or at least it fell apart. But Perez is would consider waiving his no-trade clause for the right contender. Marlins, Padres, only teams to check in. It's also the White Sox, too.
Which is weird, because why would the White Sox buy if they're selling? I don't get that.
Exactly.
That's the weirdest thing I've seen. If you're a selling team, why would you buy anything unless it's prospects?
Why would the Royals take Yasmani Grandal?
Right.
Exactly.
That would be the more interesting question. Armand, Mets fan, says, I hope Stearns fires Epler this offseason, and the person I would like for GM is Kim Ng, whose contract expires after the season with the Marlins. I think she's
done
staying.
a great job with those Marlins.
She stays. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure the Marlins want to retain her. I got some cool news from the Verlander trade, as actually their catcher Martin Maldonado is claiming that the trade happened this morning pretty much and didn't get reported till the afternoon because one of the Astros beat writers, Chandler Rome, says he spoke to Maldonado, and it says Martin Maldonado has been in touch with Justin Verlander for the last few days as his trade negotiations progressed. Maldonado said it got more realistic at 9:30 today. He found out the trade was happening when Verlander sent him a text in the afternoon, or like right before the trade, and said, let's fucking go. So
good for him.
That's pretty exciting that they get to reunite.
It's a cool story.
Mm-hmm.
I got a not cool story for you, John. Not cool story.
What's the not cool
from Ken Rosenthal? Mets GM Billy Epler to Max Scherzer before he traded him. Basically, our vision now is for 25-26.
Yeah, we said this.
26. Did you?
Yeah, we said this, Brian. Oh, you laughed out.
Strike two. Strike two, Brian.
Oh! All right, that's another one.
I literally read an entire 3 paragraphs, but
where did you wait? Where did you find 3 paragraphs?
I think the account. I told John. I headlined it by saying this. I said, John, I think Max Scherzer snitched on Billy Epler and Steve Cohen, and then I read the following 2-3 paragraphs of basically the quotations and all that.
That's what happened.
Yeah, I have my tablet right here.
Feed. Strike two.
Let me ask this, John. Instead of I know David Stearns is going to become the president of baseball operations, most likely, or GM, whatever. Would you rather have Jeff Lunau?
Yes. Yes, I would. And it's not to say I'm not happy with the trades today, but I feel Epler did a lot of damage before this. So,
yeah.
Personally, I don't want him there. I got a weird feeling that you guys are right that him and Buck are going to stay for the rest of this year. And for the next year, which is going to be not what I want at all.
Mr. Jose, what's going on, brother? Seahawks, Jose Rodriguez. Guys, follow him on Twitter and also sub to his channel. I was on his podcast last week, and I think he did say, actually, that both Mets pitchers were going to get traded, and he was absolutely right. Even him as an Angels fan. But John, my prediction was that I think Billy Epler and Buck Showalter stay past this season. Not even just for this season, but past this season.
Oh, I thought you were saying next year as well.
Well, past this season, next year as well.
Okay, fair enough.
But
Brad says
But I just want to ask before I get to Brad's comment: would be Stearns just overlooking Billy Epler and Buck
No, I
Showalter?
hope Stearns would be president. Like he's
Yeah.
the final call on decisions. That would be my hope. As Brad has commented, my over under of 5 for Brian looks good. Yeah, he's got you in the over, Brian. Sorry, Brian, but
yeah, it's just one of those days. We know it's one of those days. Can't have a stream without one zone out. We can't.
I'd say multiple.
No, there's always at least one because I had one stream this year where I only zoned out once, and it was right at the end.
John Harper, I don't know if you know him, John. He's a Mets writer, I think.
Yes.
He said, so unless Epler was lying to Scherzer to convince him to waive his no-trade clause, he was lying to the media and fans when he said this was not a fire sale and indicated Mets would compete for a championship next year.
Yeah, no, I didn't believe it when he came out. Well, when they said that, I told you guys he's lying. You could tell he's lying. I mean, you look at the roster they built this year.
Let me see if this is true. Cardinals, Katie Wu says, Brendan Donovan set to go under season-ending surgery Wednesday.
We got a trade, though, too.
Ooh.
So, Dodgers, Tigers, Eduardo Rodriguez heading to the Dodgers.
Wow.
There it is. They've been working on it all day, too. All day.
Big deal. I wonder what the return for Rodriguez is.
Can't wait to see that. He's been good this year, Rodriguez. He's
Oh,
been
whoa,
like...
Oh, wait. Nope.
Ag. I'm
Listen,
so sorry. They
Acid.
had a trade in place, and it's now dead. I'm so sorry. I read that wrong.
All right.
Fire
Yeah,
me.
he invoked the 10-team no-trade clause, so now it's dead, and it included the Dodgers.
Oh, wow.
You said after you the Dodgers. That's my fault.
No worries.
Wow.
I guess he doesn't want to be. All right.
What a bomb that was.
Yeah,
Wow.
but I see the passing tweet now.
Yeah, that was my bad.
No,
So
it's not.
quick.
It's not your fault. It's Eduardo Rodriguez's fault.
He definitely should have worded that tweet better. He really should have.
Yeah, it's definitely not my fault. It's Passon's fault.
Yeah.
It's always Passon's fault.
I'll get upset with him later.
Yeah, it's still most recent news obviously was the Jake Berger news and this deal falling apart.
Mhm.
We got about an hour and 7 minutes till the deadline.
Pretty much an
This
hour.
is where it all happens, all the big stuff.
And then there's that like 6 to 6:30 window where it's like in case anything else were not reported. You always have that. So as Armin's begging, hey Dodgers, call the Mets for Quintana. Sure. At this point, you know.
Rich McLeod put on Twitter, this is let me see here. He's a Mets, I think he's a Mets fan. Yeah, he's a Mets fan, and he works for Knicks Film School. He said in 2017, the Mets traded Addison Reed, Lucas Duda, Jay Bruce, and Curtis Granderson for minor league relievers because the Wilpons would not eat any money. Drew Smith is the only one still in the organization. This past week alone, they've gotten 4 top 100 prospects from eating money. The Steve Cohen difference.
Mm-hmm. No, that's because the Wilpons would not spend money because they were too busy in being in a Ponzi scheme. So it's true. Like it is true.
No
it's not like
comment.
I'm making up a lie.
No comment. Oh, man. I do want to ask you a question, John, because now that we've heard the whole thing with Epler basically saying that you guys are just going to be a bottom-feeding team the next year or so, what do you think the future holds for the Stars? They were considered cornerstones like Pete and Lindor.
And Nemo.
Well,
Do you think they get moved at any
I
point?
doubt Lindor gets moved because of the contract.
Unless he
he's
takes
here.
a cut.
I mean, well, he would have to specifically ask for a trade, but his contract is huge. You know, only a certain amount of teams could afford him. And as for Pete, I hope they don't trade him. I think he's the best hitter on this team. Because number one, it's rare when you find guys that can go for 40, 50 homers season after season after season. So it's not it's not something that you pry you try and give away. You try and build around those players, especially because he's not even that old. I mean, what is he? 27, 28?
Yeah.
How old is Pete? I actually should
not,
know that.
He's not too old, honestly. I'll say that much. He's still got some young youth to him.
He's 28. Yeah.
Jose says, as an Angels fan, I know how bad Billy Epler is.
Oh, believe me. I remember last year I got fooled. We brought in Danny Vogelback and Darren Ruff, and those trades were awful.
Here's another interesting note. The Yankees are asking about Manuel Margot.
Why?
The IKF trade.
Let me look at Margot's stats. Why are we need lefties, not righties.
Oh, didn't you see what happened last night? We ran out with 3 lefties and we still lost with only 3 hits.
This team, that's all I gotta say. And I know John wasn't looking at Frank the Tank's tweets because he's pretty much even like in the light of positivity of John, what he's being positive about, and he has a right to be positive. Frank the Tank was also being negative, which is I'm like, no one cares about your tired act.
Yeah, it is an act. I think he's funny, but at the same time, it's tiring. So.
Margot on the season, 254th with 3 homers, 26 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, 306 on base percentage, 670 OPS, 364 slugging. So more of a defensive fit, but not a difference maker. He's not somebody you give pieces up of. Still trying to find these trades. Let me ask this, John. Curious. With Billy Epler and, Max Scherzer essentially putting him on blast, you think this kind of, puts him on a hot seat?
I mean, well, that depends how badly Steve Cohen wants to win, because remember, when he first came the owner of the Mets, he said, I want to win a championship in 5 years.
Right.
So I don't know what the goal and vision is for the owner. Because Scherzer, the whistleblower sold out Epler, which, to be quite frank, I don't like either of them. But if that is true and they're not going to retool, you got to see what Cohen wants in the vision for his team. Because I know he values youth and prospects, but I think he also wants to remain competitive.
So I've got kind of a hot take about the Mets and Cohen right now, right? So everyone's kind of talking about, it doesn't matter. Cohen's going to spend all this money, right? I think he's starting to realize as he's now kind of gotten into this a little bit, right? That money's not going to buy a team. Being the off-season winner, right? Winning the winter is not going to guarantee you a World Series. He was going to come in and money whip everyone, right? And that's just not working. And so now he's kind of playing this like it's like everyone else does in baseball, right? Do it the right way. But Steve Cohen also has all this extra money too, so he can kind of get a little bit of a kickstart. But I don't think that someone asked the question, are you mad, right, John, that the Mets didn't get any pitching prospects back in this, right? Well, there's a pretty good feeling I've heard kind of around the Mets, right, is that they would rather spend money on the pitching, right? That you look at how they went after Scherzer and went after Verlander, but you look at everything else around them, right, and the team wasn't going to win this year. And so now they're building up that their farm again. They've still got some really talented players who are underperforming. And I think when they're ready to do it, they're going to go out there and they're going to spend money on that rotation again, but they're going to do it in a little bit smarter way. Again, you look at the free agents this year, they're going to be available like, Urias and Aaron Nola. Like, are those the guys that you want to go out there and money whip?
Not really.
Right.
No, there's like maybe a few free agents I would give it, like, obviously, I mean, okay, other than Ohtani, because every team right. I mean, other than Ohtani, like, because every team wants him. I mean, he's the best player in baseball. It's not even close. When he's all said and done, he probably will be up there in the discussion. But there's not a because I've looked at the free agent market for especially pitching, and there's not a lot of guys that I would actually break the bank for, or give contracts to. Blake Snell's a guy you mentioned, Luca, someone I do like a lot. Then there's someone like the guy I mentioned from Japanese League, Yamamoto, who I've really, he's got the youth on his side and he's got really good stuff. So that could be a possibility as well. But there isn't I wouldn't say there's a special ace out there. Maybe Yamamoto becomes one, but there isn't someone I'd give a huge deal to, but someone I would go at. There are guys I might go after, but I do agree with your point, Cade, that, I think they learned the lesson that winning the offseason doesn't translate winning the actual season.
And I just think too that Max Scherzer didn't tattletale on anybody. This is it's just classic reporter talk at this time of the year, get the retweets and the likes, but you don't have to be you don't have to be a reporter or a journalist or even really know baseball that much to realize that when a team sells Scherzer and sells Verlander and you're out of the division race this far and you look at the payroll, of course the Mets are looking at competing in 2025 or 2026. And again, you look at the weaknesses right now on the team, and you look at the free agents that are going to be available this winter. And other than Ohtani, these aren't really any guys that the Mets are going to want to pursue, right? So of course you're looking at 2025, and you look at the prospects that they got back, and Luis Angel Acuna, and you look at Drew Gilbert. And a couple of these other guys, right? And it lines up with that contention window. And they have a plan, which is impressive because the plan before this was spend as much money as possible, talk about how much money we're spending, and then go lose a bunch of games. This is an actual plan now. And if I'm a Mets fan, it's kind of disappointing because you coming into the season, you think you're going to win a World Series, but now there's a plan and it's actionable and it's a good one. And I'd be pretty excited for the future if I'm the Mets fans.
Yeah, no, the future is bright. It's just a matter of when it comes. And I'll get to some of the comments here. Jose Rodriguez says Cohen is business smart, not baseball smart, in my opinion. That remains to be seen. I'm not going to say I'm not going to call him a bad owner yet, because he is learning, but at least he cares. Some owners don't even care about their team. I could say that. Yes, Armin, there's only about 1 hour left in the deadline. And he says, Donovan Mitchell just tweeted a pic of Ohtani in a Mets jersey and says soon, LOL. Yeah, no, everyone wants Ohtani. But, obviously, the reports came out last week. The Angels are not sellers. And actually, they've been buyers at this deadline with, whether it's the Giolito and the Reynaldo Lopez trade. They made another move who I can't even think of right now. I'm blanking on a move and I can't remember. That's the worst feeling ever.
You're talking about the Angels or the White Sox?
The Angels.
Okay. So it was Randall Grichuk and CJ Cron.
Grichuk and CJ Cron. Yep, the two bats from the. So obviously, Ohtani's not being dealt. Another team that I'm shocked has more been rumored in the buyer market and not sellers. The San Diego Padres.
They've been on a hot streak lately. That's the thing. They've been playing very well as of late, and they just got off a sweep of the Rangers. So that's really what's motivated them.
But Brian, they have to fight off the whole wild card. They have 3 teams in the division that are good and are going for the playoffs, and they're under 500 still. So you're risking losing Soto, Hader, and Blake Snell for nothing, because they're at their highest value right now, whether it's rental or not, and you have the chance of not making the playoffs.
Right.
I feel like it's going to be wrong for me to say this, but I think it's an ego thing with San Diego.
No,
yeah, the way I put it is you're talking about one of the highest payrolls in baseball, and the difference between them and the Mets is, one, the Padres are up a game on you to get closer to the wild card, and 2, your owner for the Mets understood the gravity of the situation that we're probably not going to make the playoffs this year. And even if we do, nothing's going to come of it. So let's sell our assets and regroup and focus on the next couple of years, building a team that's built to last. For the Padres, their mentality is we spent all this money on all these guys in the last 2 years. I'm also including last year's deadline because they made a lot of moves at that deadline last year. And they decided that if it would be worse to cut their losses and get rid of guys than to try and fight and make it look like it was actually worth it. It's this because so far last year they made it. How far did they make? What was it? The NLCS last year, right? NLCS last year and lost to the Phillies. This year they're significantly far back and they're struggling to win games they should be winning. Bats aren't doing their job. Outside of Snell, pitching's been lackluster. Just things overall. A team that's supposed to be winning that they spent so much money on is not doing the job. They're just not doing it. And Melvin is not doing a great job as a manager this year either. I'll say that flat out.
What was it? The clubhouse, atmosphere hasn't been the greatest. It's like several players are not getting along. Manny's not getting along with certain people. It's a mess.
They need to figure something out. They should have sold.
I got to know Melvin pretty well last year during the postseason and talk with him. I'll say he's a really nice guy. I think he's a pretty good baseball manager. You don't get where you are if you're not, right? But I look at the personalities in that clubhouse and look at who Bob Melvin is, and it's just not a fit, right? Like you look at Bruce Bochy, right, in his clubhouse, and those guys and those personalities, it's a fit. Dusty Baker and the Astros and those personalities, it's a fit, right? Even Rob Thompson and the guys, the Phillies clubhouse, that's a fit. Bob Melvin and all these massive personalities that the Padres have, and I don't want to say it, too much, but a lot of me or I's rather than we's in that clubhouse. And Bob Melvin is very much a we type of manager. So there's a lot of this going on right now, and you hear it all year. Reports coming out of that clubhouse from the beat writers who are sitting there every day. It's not surprising. Again, I think the Mets and Cohen have kind of figured it out, and I think the Padres are figuring out. Money and big names aren't always going to win you baseball games. It's a long season, and a lot of it, riding the ups and downs. And the Padres are not a team that are built this year to weather that out. And there's not the right guys just not leading it either.
Right. Just a minor note. So 2 minor notes actually. The Phillies have designated Josh Harrison for assignment. So obviously they get a Lorenzen, make the roster spot for him pretty much, and get rid of Harrison. And there is some rumors, don't know the validity of them yet, that the Dodgers might be pivoting toward Dylan Cease as a result of not getting Eduardo Rodriguez earlier. And the White Sox are listening to him. Before we get into that, I do want to get into some of the comments. Armin says Padres will trade Soto this offseason with 1 year of control and lack of bats in free agency. Yeah, that would be, a smart idea. That's not a bad option. He also says down here, right-handed pitcher Peter Shred. I'm
going to say Zalecki. I'm not even going to say the Zalecki.
All right,
Zalecki or something like that.
Is the pitcher going back to the Diamondbacks in the Chafin deal, and One Bag Doodle says the Mets have a brain. So I guess he's for the selling.
Yeah.
And the tweet I was referring to is Bob Nightingale says the Dodgers, since they were rebuffed on the Erod, they've the asking prices not only for Dylan Cease, but they've also asked for Jack Flaherty as they're still looking for a starter. So
because now most of the serviceable starters are off the market now for trades, so you're down to 3 main guys. That's it.
You're right. No, you're absolutely right on that one.
I did see a point. I brought this guy's tweet up earlier, Rick McLeod, Knicks Film School, and he said, I don't really get why these people are complaining about the Mets not getting pitchers. It's about who's the best available when it comes to prospects, not when it comes to need. It's like the draft almost. And I could agree with that 100%. And what I find funny is I was reading some comments under that thread, like, oh, I'd rather have the Mets, have Verlander for this year or next year than get no pitching prospects. It's like there are some Met fans who were hesitant to trade Verlander just to stay in contention, but they're not looking at the long-term plan as the issue.
Right. And I didn't think the Mets would be good enough next year if they kept Verlander. I mean, it wouldn't make any sense if you ask me. So I like the direction they picked, and they're finally learning, let's try and build from within, and then we'll go get our guys. So
I think the other thing too that's important to keep in mind, right, is that these prospects, a lot of fans think, okay, hey, this guy's going to eventually play for my team at the major league level and make an impact. And so let's look at his pedigree and what his ranking is and all this other stuff. And honestly, none of that matters because prospects are just another form of capital. Cohen has all the money in the world, right? He's the richest man in baseball, right? And how far has that gotten him? And so now he's becoming rich in another capital, which is prospects. And so if the Mets do compete next year and they find themselves in contention, now they've got all this prospect capital to go get a guy that fits with the contention window of 2025, 2026 and beyond, right? So this is just another form of capital that Cohen is putting together. And honestly, all of these guys that, they got in return for Scherzer and Verlander, there's a good chance that none of them ever play at the major league level for the New York Mets. If everything goes right for the Mets, I don't think any of these guys probably take the field. Maybe one of them, they're all going to be expended in other trades in the next coming years here.
Mm-hmm.
Blue City says, did the Yankees do anything? Right now they have rumored interest in Manuel Margot, and that's pretty much it.
I also read somewhere some crazy thing. I don't know how true it is, but apparently at this deadline so far, the only team who has not been involved in any trades at all, hasn't made even one, is the Yankees. They're the only one. Supposedly every other team in baseball has made some kind of trade. Even if it was something minor, just a prospect move with the cash considerations, something's been done for every team except for the Yankees.
That's so strange. So strange. But
Brian, maybe you could put up the picture that you had earlier.
Oh yeah, let me just
Cashman's sleeping. Cashman's sleeping.
Again, it's not exciting, it's not sexy, but sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. And the Yankees are in that perfectly mediocrely average spot that you're going to sell, you're going to buy, or do nothing. Sometimes that's the option.
I get the point you're making. I'm in favor of selling off though for the Yankees.
You're not going to sell every asset, but you're going to sell, right.
At least the rentals, I would maybe go out and sell.
Harrison Bader, Wandy Peralta.
I don't think they're and this is more related because of the Aaron Judge news. If he's not fully healthy, then this team has no shot. Aaron Judge at least gives them the shot to do something in the playoffs. But if he's not healthy, they have no shot to do anything. They have zero, in my opinion, without Judge.
100%.
Right, 100%.
Yeah.
So that's where I say maybe sell your rentals at least. The Baders, the Severinos, the bullpen guys you can. Anyone else, maybe IKF if you wanted to.
IKF you might get a bag of peanuts for.
In truth, yes. When you trade, that trade was so bad. IKF, Josh Donaldson, and Ben Rohrvedt for Gio Urshela and Gary Sanchez. Not that I liked Gary Sanchez towards the end of his year.
I like Gio Urshela. That's my only opinion.
Yeah.
Should never let him go.
Man, I love Connor Fleifel when he was with the Rangers, man. He was just the nicest guy, upbeat, Gold Glove guy, man, good contact hitter. I got a bat with his signature on it that he gave me. Just cool guy. I don't know what happened. And then he left Texas. It was all the baseball talent just was left here. So
I don't know if it's
the main thing for the Yankees these days. Anytime somebody leaves their spot playing well and comes to the Yankees, they fall apart.
Yeah, you destroyed my boy Joey Gallo.
He destroyed himself. He destroyed himself. No, I'm kidding.
Dude, that's my boy, and y'all just destroyed his mental health and everything.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because with IKF, you mentioned the Gold Glove at third base, but they've never really used him at third base, which kind of
they put him at shortstop,
which was mind-boggling to me. Like, why would you take him?
To be fair, he is an actual shortstop that was thrust, and then the Rangers had him playing catcher at one point. Like
that's mind-boggling to me.
Dark days for the Texas Rangers when that happened. But he's an actual shortstop, and again coming up through the minors, and even for the Rangers, like he was a Gold Glove level caliber shortstop.
My thing was like, though, if he feels even more comfortable at third base, winning that Gold Glove there, like keep him there, let him thrive. I mean, because I know they got him and Donaldson in that same offseason, so and it's 2 gloves at third base, kind of doesn't make sense, but
right. I can't find a Gold Glove at third base.
No, that's my point. If he's really even comfortable there, if he's winning a Gold Glove there, I'm not going to change how he plays. Let him do the same drills he does. Let him don't change his workout habits. Like, let him keep going.
Honestly, I kind of alluded to it earlier, but like I actually know these two guys pretty well, and I know a lot of guys that are really close to them that have had some candid conversations with me. I can't say who, but it's all been pretty much in confidence. But I will say that, Joey Gallo in particular, right, and IKF in particular, them making the move over to New York, right. It was a really tough transition, going from a smaller market team that really feels kind of like a home, and I guess the fans are a little bit more
forgiving.
It was also at a time when the Rangers were really bad and expectations were really low, right? Which is really good for young players to develop. And then to be moved, right, and thrust into a position where there is no forgiveness, there is no leniency from the fan base. Every paper, every social media post, everything is about the Yankees in that city, right? All eyes are on you. And it's World Series or bust every single year. And so these two guys in particular, very humble guys that kind of go about their work, like to kind of do it in the shadows. It was a really, really tough transition for both of these, and the mental health impact that they sustained as well. It was really tough for those two guys in particular. And I think that's a large explanation of what happened to these guys and kind of the fall off in talent that you see moving from a smaller market like Texas to the biggest market, New York Yankees.
Yeah, it's a good point. I just want to get to a few comments, and I'll actually give my response to that. Luis Angel Acuna is debuting tonight for the Rumble Ponies and leading off. Armin gives that update. Yankees have done nothing so far. That is correct. What's going on, Jeffrey? But my response to the whole Joey Gallo thing is like, it's interesting because there's so many factors. You were right, Cade. Obviously, not everybody's made for the big city, and that's completely fine. But from the day the trade was made and from now, I disagree with the trade. It has nothing to do with Joey Gallo personally. It's the Yankees, philosophy being really screwed up because the Yankees needed a contact bat in the starting lineup. I constantly remedied that the Yankees should get a guy like Starling Marte and Adam Frazier then, instead of adding another power bat and a essentially home run or nothing guy in Joey Gallo. And unfortunately, he suffered the consequences of the Yankee philosophy. He didn't bother to change himself as a player or the way he played. But that was just bad circumstances for both sides. And I really wish that he would have obviously not been traded to the Yankees. He was better in Texas, and that's okay. He was an all-star there in 2021, and the small market was better fit for them. But I don't know. I don't even know why the trade was even made. That's just my thoughts.
A minor, I don't want to say a minor trade, but a off the radar trade. The White Sox have acquired Luis Patino from the Rays, the right-handed pitcher.
Okay.
According to The Athletic, they reported that.
Yeah, Armin actually just sent me a diagram of how much the Mets are paying for each player that is traded this season. You got the buyout for Taijuan Walker, buyout for Michael Givens, the buyout for Chris Bassett, the money paid for Gary Sanchez, the money owed to Milwaukee for Canna, the money paid by the Mets to Escobar, the money paid to LA for Escobar, the money paid to Texas for Scherzer, money paid by the Mets to Robertson, to Canna, to Houston for the Verlander trade, to Baltimore for the McCann trade, to the Mets for the Max Scherzer trade, obviously to Max Scherzer and to Justin Verlander. I'm going to pull up the diagram right now because I think this is very interesting, unless we have some news to get to.
Yeah, like in their DEG money that they've sent out to other teams, that they would have that DEG money equates to about the 8th or 9th largest payroll in baseball.
I'm going to see if I can full screen this, but this is an entire diagram.
That's crazy to me. I mean, it's funny because a lot of that money is coming off the books for next year anyway.
Right.
So it's not like it's going to affect them long term. It only really affects them this year and a little bit of the next 2 seasons, but nothing crazy.
Nope. Then you're just paying 2024. You're paying for McCann, paying the Orioles. Then you're paying the Astros, Rangers, and then 2025 is just another year. Obviously, if the vesting option works out for Justin Verlander.
That's
so,
right.
Let's see if there's another trade we can get to. Obviously, Houston, back where he belongs. That's the Houston tagline there. On the recent post.
We got about less than 40 minutes to the deadline.
Yep. Let's see if it gets any hotter in the next 40 minutes.
Anything. I mean, it's been a real. I have to say, it's been a really. I expected a little more fireworks, but it's been a really quiet.
Yeah.
Other than that Verlander trade, I think it's been.
It's just been so active though, so early, right? The last couple of days, like they're not. I really enjoy not having to wait around and like having to then write like 15 articles about trades in 30 minutes, right? I think this is good for baseball. Making trades all the way back as early as Friday, impact trades as early as like Thursday, Friday. With Lance Lynn moving and things like that. I don't know. I kind of like this a little bit better. But obviously the excitement of bang 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 is also pretty fun too.
Oren says, according to Jesse Rogers, Heimer Candelario will play first base on a regular basis with the Cubs per manager David Ross. John, you're about to say something?
Perfect sense.
No, I was just gonna reply and say, well, it's easier for you because you don't have to type, like you said, type the 30 articles in like 15 minutes.
Right. Yeah. No, that Candelario news. I mean, that's perfect for the Cubs because they were hoping Eric Hosmer was going to be the guy, and then they were hoping Trey Mancini was going to be the guy. Now both of those guys are not with the team. Matt Mervis, they were hoping would step up, and he was unable to. And Nick Madrigal has been playing pretty good at third base, so Candelario over at first base, and that fills a massive hole for Chicago right now, who, by the way, I believe they still are the only team with a positive run differential in the National League Central, which means they've been really unlucky, and they've been playing really well lately. So watch out for the Cubs. I have them in as one of the 3 teams that's going to make the National League wild card this year. So I like them right now. So that's a good move.
Yep. Reds are +4. Cubs, is Cade just mentioned, +56. So
there you go.
It's impressive that Cody Bellinger's hitting what, 300 on the season?
Yeah, he's been impressive. Yeah, I mean, and the other thing too is, he had that shoulder surgery, an injury, right? That people thought, hey, he's done. He kept saying, and Scott Boras, whether you believe anything that guy says or not, that's up to you. But they kept saying, hey, he's got this shoulder injury. It's affected his swing, all kinds of stuff, and he's back. He's good to go. And the Cubs say, okay, prove it. And my goodness, man, he's exactly what the Cubs have been looking for. And I think it's really good for the Cubs and the Cubs fans in that clubhouse that they didn't move Bellinger, and then they're not going to move Stroman, even though he's been terrible his last 3 or 4 starts. But man, Bellinger, he's been so good, and he's a big reason why the Cubs are where they are right now.
Yeah, 15 homers, 46 RBIs, 313, 900 OPS. It's just numbers he hadn't reached since his MVP season.
Yeah, it's
good story.
Yeah, and he just had a baby with his girlfriend.
Good for him. Hope all is well with him. There's not much to sell. Sell IKF for a supply of Coke. Shout out to Moneyball. We are about 35 minutes away from the deadline.
I'm going to add in something Yankee related because this has been my biggest pet peeve since last night, which involves Anthony Rizzo.
Okay.
And I think I found something interesting. Someone posted a video clip from the Tatis incident on May 27th. Do you remember what happened, anybody? When Tatis got into a collision with Rizzo at first base? So apparently Tatis was running back to get back to the base, and when Rizzo stretched out to grab the ball, obviously Tatis ended up being safe, but Tatis smacked his leg into Rizzo's knee and sent it backwards. And they said before that incident, the first 52 games, Rizzo was batting .303 with 11 homers, 31 RBIs, and 30 runs. Since that incident where he had his knee slammed and he also took a leg to the head and possible concussion, he's been batting .171 with a homer, 10 RBIs, and 15 runs since May 27th. Ever since he took the leg to the head from Tatis.
That's scary.
I almost feel like he should get the judge treatment. Just sit him for the year.
Sit him out.
Because if it's still concussion related and he played through it and he was never fully good from it, that could be a severe effect.
And Armin just actually beat me to it because he commented, but I saw the tweet. This is Mike Puma, who's a beat reporter for the Post, and he does cover the Mets as well. But he says in his tweet, Tommy Pham poked his head into the manager's office and left the clubhouse in street clothes. No word yet that he's been traded, but the signs point that way.
He's coming to the Bronx tonight. It's okay.
He's going to the Phillies.
I wonder what the Phillies would trade for that. What the return would be.
I don't know what you could. I mean, Pham, I feel like you should get a little bit better than Mark Hanna.
Yeah.
Package. I feel like he's a more productive offensive player. But, I mean, I'm going to have to keep my eye out for that one now because that is very interesting to me.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I'm shocked that we still haven't seen a trade yet for Hedges. They said it happened in the next 90 minutes and it hasn't happened yet.
Right. There's many teams interested too.
A lot of them. Yep. Technically, the Yankees should be interested. They said catcher was a position of need because of Trevino's injury, which actually is funny because it's similar. I was going to say it earlier. What's happening with Jonah Heim with Texas is similar to what happens with Trevino with the Yankees. Both had wrist injuries. They made Trevino play through it. I don't know if the Texas did that, but Trevino played through it. And then at one point they were like, yeah, he's got to get a surgery to fix it. He tried to tough it out and his numbers were taking a hit. It wasn't helping. So they just get in surgery and ended the year. So I don't know if Heim's going in the same direction of needing the surgery.
Yeah, we'll see. They'll know in about probably 2 weeks from right now. So
he was having a really good season, by the way, Jonah.
Yes,
Heim.
he was
really fantastic.
And the thing, it kind of frustrates me too a little bit with, and I've seen it this year so far. We look at Jacob deGrom, right, and putting him on the IL and pushing it. I was in that press conference at the stadium when they first announced that he was injured, but wasn't going to require surgery. But I was just sitting in there down in the in the media room. I'm like, man, this just seems solemn around here, like a funeral, you know. And I thought they were going to announce right then and there it was Tommy John. And I mean, we went like 7 weeks, right? That deGrom keeps getting pushed back, IL to the 60, to the IL 60, and then they do surgery, right? And it's like, okay, well, had you done surgery 2 months ago, you might have had him back, near the beginning of 2024 rather than the middle of 2024. And now I think you're kind of doing the same thing with Jonah Heim. I mean, give the guy, if right? And I get it, you would rather lose 2 to 3 weeks of Jonah Heim rather than permanently be done for the season. But it's been almost questionable how the Rangers have been kind of dealing with these injuries lately. Anyway, just my 2 cents.
I do want to add real quick that John Heyman just tweeted out that the Rangers are talking about Austin Hedges right now. And
Feinzan just confirmed that the Rangers are acquiring Austin Hedges from the Pirates.
There you go.
Let's go.
So there you go. So that makes me think that Heim is probably in fact going to undergo surgery.
Yep.
So,
which is Absolutely terrible. Again, this is also beyond this year. I was watching Heim last year. He was on a big tear as well. So this is not even just this season alone. This would be 2 seasons in a row he's done really well, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and he's kind of came out of nowhere. His agent's Jeff Fry, who is a former Texas Ranger, major leaguer, right? Kind of a, not necessarily well-known guy. I think Jonah's probably one of his only clients, if not his only client, and just been incredible for the Rangers. And but again, it's a loss because his bat is elite for the catching position, and it's a bat that they heavily depending on. And again, that's why I have them not winning the division anymore, almost specifically for that reason. Yeah, it's going to be tough. That's a big loss. And hopefully Austin Hedges does something to help mitigate that. But Austin Hedges is no Jonah Heim.
Especially offensively. He's got a plus 28 OPS, which is very low. Obviously, he's not a great hitter.
28 OPS plus is 72% below MLB average.
In Leighton's terms, that's awful.
It's god awful. Whereas Jonah Heim, he's got a WAR this year of 6 point something, I think, which is crazy. I'm sorry. No, I'm so sorry. 3.3. It's 3.3. But the next closest is Adley Rushman, and I think his is 1.9 or something like that. And we know how good he is, right? So just to kind of put into perspective how good Jonah Heim has been. Here's the other thing. So while Austin Hedges is 72% below MLB average and OPS plus at 28, Jonah Heim is 22% above MLB average at 122. So the difference is it's almost unfathomable. So yeah, Austin Hedges is not coming in to replace Jonah Heim by any means.
And Armin with some news from the chat saying, looks like Colton Wong is saying goodbye to his teammates in the clubhouse. That could be either a trade or a DFA. But,
I got some John Heyman news for you. Twins are looking to righty bats. Tommy Pham remains a possibility.
Ooh, all right. I wonder who they could get from the Twins.
And a buddy of ours who we had on the show weeks ago, Spiro, actually tweeted, wouldn't it be something if we got Simeon Woods Richardson back?
Ha!
I hadn't heard of that name in a while.
That'd be funny if we did get him.
Armin says, per Joel Sherman, the return for Hedges is international pool money.
That's more than I thought they'd get.
Question is, what's going on with Colton Wong? I'm assuming there's probably a DFA going on there or a release because of making room.
Probably. That's my guess. And
also, what is the update going on? Because as of last night, they were talking about the Mariners were listening on Ty France.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Ty France and Teoscar Hernandez?
Yeah, Hernandez hasn't been moved yet, and neither is France.
I pegged Ty France as a good fit for the Cubs. I thought that would be a good fit for them, but it looks like Candelario is going to take over that first base spot. So,
question is, who would use it? Who could use France's services?
Honestly, the Houston Astros.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jose Abreu's been not good, to say the least. So yeah, slogging him over there would be good. Right.
That would probably be good. I'm just thinking about teams that I feel like should be doing more at the deadline. That's what I'm thinking about. Teams that I feel like could have made more investment. I think the Reds just keep coming back to me. I feel like if they were really serious about winning their division, they would make more moves, and they really haven't done anything. It's concerning.
Another team that I thought would maybe be a little bit more active, considering that they currently hold the number one wild card spot, is the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, they've got a good pad as well.
Absolutely.
So, they've got. I mean, who they've got playing first base right now? Is it still Brandon Belt? So,
wait,
No, I'm so
Brandon
sorry.
Belt's actually on the Jays, I think.
Jays, yeah, thank you. Lamont Wade Jr., maybe?
Let me see who it is. Getting it now. It looks like first base is Lamont Wade. But they also got other options. It could have been Wilmer Flores or JD Davis, but Davis is mainly third base. So
Yeah.
it's Wade and Flores is the utility.
Yeah, I mean, Ty France, that'd be a good spot to put him in. Yeah, the Giants have been kind of weird the last couple of years. I mean, not really making too big of splashes, but still, kind of hanging around right there until the last minute.
Mhm.
And then they fall out of the race and don't make the postseason. And then they talk about how they wish they could have done more. And then the opportunity comes around again to do more, and then they don't do anything. It's like this weird cycle the Giants are in right now. So
Pretty much.
yeah.
It's like they're kind of stuck in no man's land. Is the
Mhm.
not a true contender, but not a rebuilding team either.
Purgatory.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
They never fully stripped down from that 2021 season when it was like the last of, the glory players they had: Buster Posey, Brandon Crawford, Brandon Belt. They never completely stripped down from that. They've never completely gone, as John said, full rebuild, which I find interesting. Obviously, they have guys like Logan Webb on there. They do have some solid players. Obviously, Wilmer Flores, Jock Peterson as well. Conforto, obviously, they signed, but
yeah, what
I
a
just
bullet they
good
dodged, though,
rebuild.
and Carlos Correa.
Yeah, he's been terrible.
Yeah, we should really do a breakdown study on one specific team. I want to see how they really fell apart so quickly. The 2016 Cubs. What happened to that entire roster, and where those players ended up going, and what happened? Because Javi Baez and Rizzo are the first things that come
He's
to
probably
mind.
one of the worst hitters in baseball, Javi Baez.
Yeah.
Like,
You're just swinging out of shoes. He's with the Tigers. You got Rizzo. Chris Bryant's with the Colorado Rockies on a pretty big deal, and he's not been very good.
Remember they had the Jackrabbit, Addison Russell.
Yeah. Kyle
Schwarber,
Schwarber, Phillies,
Phillies.
doing pretty well. You got Wilson Contreras that signed a massive deal with the Cardinals and was pulled from catching duties because he doesn't know what pitches his pitchers are throwing. So he's doing really well. Yeah.
Got a Joel Sherman update. The expectation is that the Cardinals will still trade Jack Flaherty, perhaps in conjunction with an outfielder like Dylan Carlson or Tyler O'Neill. The Dodgers still want to add a starting pitcher, perhaps the Braves too.
Okay. I mean, package them, you might be able to get something back.
The question is, what would you give up if you're the Braves? Because hearing now that the Braves are looking at a starter on top of now an extra outfielder, what does that do? What's the need? You're the best team in baseball. I don't understand needing to go add another starter when you got 3 of your guys coming back.
Max Fried, Jesse Chavez.
Yep. So that's questionable to me. But Dodgers makes total sense.
It does. Let me see. I'm just looking back at that 2016 Cubs team. There's also Jorge Soler, who I think is on the Marlins. Jason Hayward. He's somewhere. He's with the Dodgers, actually. I think he's still in the big leagues, which is
Kyle Hendricks is the only remaining Cub still with the Cubs on that World Series.
Remember I believe Chapman was on that team too.
Yep. They traded for him at the deadline, obviously, with the Yankees.
Mm-hmm. Chapman. David Ross is now the manager of the Cubs.
Pedro Strop, Travis Wood, Trevor Cahill.
That's crazy. I treat that year as a bitter year for the Yankees, just because we got rid of 2 guys that year, and they both ended up serving as closers against each other in the World Series, which was
Andrew Miller and
Chapman and Andrew Miller.
Mm-hmm.
He was on Cleveland.
That's why.
Who was the utility guy, like the super utility guy on that team? That
Ben Zobrist.
What was it?
Ben Zobrist.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Ben Zobrist. Wasn't he World Series MVP, if I'm not mistaken?
I'm gonna check that out. Actually,
Was he not, or am I?
I think he was.
I think he might. I think he was too.
Yeah, I think you're on to something.
Mm-hmm. I think he nailed it that World Series.
Here's
Pretty
another
sure
one. Anthony Tacoma with the Mets. Pete Alonso says he has not spoken to the front office about the possibility of being traded. Alonso's under team control only through next season.
I don't think they trade him this year, if they were to.
Maybe not this year, but
I mean, if they're ridiculously bad next year, then the conversations have to take place. But he's such a good. There is very few hitters in the game with his power.
Right.
Very few. Like he's on the spectrum of him, Judge, your Dan Alvarez. I mean, I was gonna say Stanton, but I'm not even gonna throw that name in there.
Stanton, jeez, he's cooked.
Otani's and obviously, but like it's like A+ power. Like, sorry.
There's another name I thought about that hasn't been brought up at all recently, except for last night. Since last night, it's been dead quiet. What happened to the Alex Verdugo market?
Oh, him.
I don't.
That was another name that kept coming up last night from Boston.
Yeah, so that's a name. He's a lefty, so I thought he would be, he's going to be pretty coveted by a lot of guys. I thought the Phillies would, potentially pursue him. Same thing with the Astros. That's another bat, too, that they could be looking at. But, again, you look at the Red Sox, who are in a little bit better position than the Yankees, and they don't know who they are this year. They go on like a 9-game winning streak, and they lose 7 in a row. So they've been pretty quiet, too, at this deadline in terms of not really buying and not really selling.
That's actually 2.5 back of the wild card.
They're like on that weird thing where nobody really thought they'd be a competitive team this year, too crazy. But I think Yoshida coming out here and just having a beautiful year for the Red Sox is what's really changed things for them. Like their pitching still to me doesn't move me outside of Pivetta. That's really it. Pivetta is the only person that appeals to me well on their rotation. And outside of that, those two, the Red Sox themselves, the fact that they're so close to wild card blows my mind. It's remarkable because they didn't start great off for the year, but they caught up very quickly and they're keeping pace. That's what I'll say.
Can I mention something that's pretty funny? So I read what people are saying, whether it's Twitter or whatever else, and there's a lot of complaints about MLB Network because they said they're complaining that they're putting the Verlander as breaking news 3 hours after it already happened. So everyone's saying, someone should tell them it's not breaking news. There's like millions of comments. It's the funniest thing right now.
So I've got it on next to me right here. And like we were talking, so Verlander broke like probably 20 minutes before we hopped on here, right?
Yeah.
And we already my outlet, we already got it up. I edited it. I pushed it out. We got it on social media. We started the podcast, and then I looked over, and MLB Network then just broke the news. I was like, this is like 20 minutes later. They're way behind. They're not super great. Boomer town over there.
Bad timing.
Pete made some recent comments. He said, regardless of personnel, we're going to try to win every single game. I can't necessarily worry about the team philosophy because it's just in my DNA as a player. Every time I'm written the lineup, I'm doing whatever I can to win the game. Mr. Pete Alonso.
Yeah, he's going to play. He's not going to. He's not a complainer.
So John Morosi just tweeted that Mets are in active trade negotiations with multiple players. Those include Tommy Pham, Adam Ottavino, Brooks Raley, and they all could be moved in the next 20 minutes. And I think he probably means 15 because that's about what we got left. So
who in the world would trade for Ottavino?
No,
he's been abysmal this year.
Let it happen. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't
tell. Brooks Raley he's a lefty, right?
Yeah, he's
been pretty good. I think he's got like a sub 2.3 ERA or something like that. Like I think I predicted him going to the Cubs. I think that because they need a left-hander in the bullpen. I think they got one.
I mean, I would take maybe a top 15 prospect, maybe even like 12 to 15 prospect for maybe latest like a 20 prospect, but like he's been very solid. I mean, you can get something for him.
Yeah, Cubs have a pretty good farm system right now too. Like I said, I think that's an actual trade fit right there.
I mean, I would definitely take someone from them. I mean,
yeah. And I think Tommy Pham in the Phillies is an actual fit too.
Yeah.
I've been hearing Pham and the Twins.
That's all that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm being facetious here, but who knows? Maybe we throw all of them in there. We get Pete Crow Armstrong back. What a stupid trade that was.
Yeah.
I knew it at the time.
Dude, PCA, he just got promoted to AAA yesterday.
Yep.
That dude's a monster. He's a dude, man.
Yeah, but instead we got half a season of Javi Baez, so that's okay.
Yeah. So what was that, like 600 strikeouts?
Oh, dude, like what? That didn't annoy me at first. I mean, it did, but what really got to me when he started booing back at us.
When he did this to the fans.
Was like, dude, I was about to I wanted to go on there and hit him with the base path or the base itself. Like that, it's just frustrating, you know.
Yeah,
it really was.
Yeah, Javi's not a fun player to always follow.
No, and like it was one of those trades where it was like I didn't like it at the time, and then looking back at it a few years later, I still don't like it. So it was like inevitably I was going to be upset.
Here's your answer. Colton Wong's been DFA'd.
There you go.
Right. Knew it. Knew it had to be the case. Feel bad for him, but he's really fallen off the last couple of years.
So I'm going to flip the script here a little bit. I got a question for you guys.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right. Who do you think is the most improved team so far?
From the deadline.
I can't help but just say Texas. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I did like a whole episode today for my podcast talking about it, where I basically, after watching everything happen, I said the Texas Rangers are probably going to win the American League after everything they did. Because at first I wasn't confident because the rotation itself this year hasn't been great. You're talking 16th in team ERA, and take away Eovaldi, how does that affect it? 16th in strikeouts. And the bats have been the bright point. First in batting average as a team, second in slugging, 7th homers, first in OBP, and I think, first in RBIs?
Mm-hmm.
And 16th as a team in total strikeouts. So they've been really good on the batting side, 6th in the league in fielding percentage. They do everything right. It was just the rotation and bullpen they had to figure out. Because Dunning's been great, Gray's been solid, and now adding Montgomery, who's been having a decent year. It's been a little quiet, but he's been doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Really helps. Adding Scherzer that you hope gets back on track. If he gets back on track, that's four solid starters. And then once Eovaldi comes back, which is, I'm guessing, right before the regular season ends.
Tommy Pham to the Diamondbacks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that was out of left field.
Who did we get for Mr. Pham?
Watch it be Corbin Carroll. No, I'm kidding.
Also, a side update.
Jordan Waller, Andrew Jones. No.
Also, a side update. There are executives who believe that Dylan Cease could be traded in the next few minutes. Orioles are best position. We will know less than 15. But as of now, the Diamondbacks have just traded for Tommy Pham.
Yep. I see the tweets.
Wow.
Martino passing. Yep. That's great. Let
the kids play.
Great. Pham, thank you for your service. I had no issues with you, Tommy Pham. You were an excellent player for half a season. I hope you do very well in Arizona. See, I'm being professional. Thank you very
fantasy
much.
Football shenanigans while with the Mets.
Right.
I forgot that even happened.
That's true.
Dodgers talking to the Red Sox about Paxton. Still outside chance to get Eduardo Rodriguez, but who would need to reverse his decision on no trade. Both of them are considered long shots, though.
I want to know the package we got. I gotta look at the Diamondbacks prospects.
You got a 6-pack of Arizonas. That's what you got. Arizona iced tea.
I mean, Arizona's iced tea is good. I just haven't had them in years. But anyway,
Trade Rizzo for a bat boy, and he says Fam is a shitty fantasy manager, though.
It's true.
Brad says another feeble lotion session incoming.
No. People are just ruthless. God damn. I can't with these people.
Where was it? Sorry,
Orioles close to getting Jack Flaherty, according to Ken Rosenthal.
Ooh, that's big. That's big.
Your question earlier was who I think is going to
most improved.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the Rangers. I'll let John finish. But
Rangers are a team. I also did like what the Angels got. I don't know if it's enough to help them. I'm just trying to think if there's another team out there.
Passon. Yep, just confirmed it. Jack.
What about the Jays?
Orioles.
What did the Jays get? They got Jordan Hicks. They got.
I didn't like I didn't like those moves, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
Wasn't
pretty
anything
forgettable. Oh, and then they got
today. They got
today.
DeYoung from the Cardinals.
Thanks, Paul DeYoung. Yeah.
So they made 2 separate trades with them. But no, Brian, you're right. I see the tweet too from Ken Rosenthal that the O's are close to acquiring Jack Flaherty from the Cardinals. That would be their pitcher.
Jeremy Rodriguez, John.
All right, I'll take a look at him from the Diamondbacks. Jeremy Rodriguez.
Armand says he's a 17-year-old shortstop.
Okay, he's not in their top 30, but again, I'm gonna. Is there what else? What other prospect sites are there that I could take a look at? Hold up.
Baseball America, possibly. I know you look at MLB.com. There's Baseball America. I don't know.
Fangraphs.
Fangraphs is the other thing I do use. Baseball America.
Baseball Prospectus.
I sometimes use MLB stats, whatever I can, just to find out what they're doing.
Baseball. I'm going to use Fangraphs, I think. Let me use Fangraphs.
I just don't understand why the D-backs added another outfielder when they already were stacked in the outfield.
Yeah, they got McCarthy, Corbin Carroll, Lourdes
They got a
Gurriel.
surplus. If they were really smart, they would have dealt out some of the surplus and built up the pitching better. Because that has been the question all year is pitching. And they decided to do that. Okay.
Yeah, Jack Flaherty, man, that's big for the Orioles. So that means that if Seaskicks moves, I mean, there's not a whole lot of teams left that can pull off something like that. I mean, you're looking at, you're looking at the Dodgers. You're looking at, the Texas Rangers. I mean, they make all these moves and never even had to touch any of their top really 5 prospects, in my opinion, and not a single arm. They have to move a single arm either, which was, no, they moved John King, he's all right. But guys I don't know. They've got the capital to pull off something like that, and Chris Young's just crazy enough to do it. Be interesting to see.
We got a Rays fan in the chat. He says, never thought I'd feel sorry for a Yankees fan. Honestly, cross-face Ray, don't feel sorry. We're very upset at our own organization's incompetence. You're second in the division right now. Keep going, man. You're probably going to end up sweeping us. But
I've been literally calling for jobs alone for the last 4 years, so I don't worry about it. We are perfectly fed up.
And there was somebody who the 3 of us know, meaning Brian, John, and myself. There's somebody who posted on their Instagram story, the Yankees are bad, but when the Mets are bad, it makes me feel a little bit better. Something along those lines. But I'm like, I don't think I can even laugh at the Mets because the Yankees are they do things so, they're incompetent, but what they did yesterday with Herman was so stupid. It's just they do more things incompetent than any other team.
Yeah. All right, so
we're all agreeing it's definitely Texas.
Yeah, I'd say Texas. Houston got better too.
Yeah,
just by getting Verlander back.
And Kendall Graveman.
Graveman,
that's a big bank though, because Graveman has not been pitching well this year. So to get him back, try to see if you can get him fixed, just like what the Rangers did, because they did the same thing getting Stratton.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If Stratton turns out doing better, like he did in the past, that could be big. To the bullpen.
The only thing with the Rangers is I don't know how much tremendously they improved the starting staff because, Evaldi, did Evaldi get hurt or?
He has a forearm strain, but
Right.
it's in the good part of his elbow, and he's only supposed to miss the minimum amount of time on the injured list.
So I don't know how that's going to affect him, which is the only cause for pause I have about the rotation, because Evaldi's been lights out this year.
Of course.
For the Rangers. John Gray's a solid starter for them. Dane Dunning's given you some quality starts. I'm trying to think, who's your other starters on the team?
Andrew Heaney has been a pile of dog poo-poo lately. As
I know about that as a Yankees
Martin
fan.
Perez is another one. Martin Perez.
Yeah, he's on a qualifying, big qualifying offer, man. He was so good last year, like first half Cy Young type guy, and this year he's just been. I have to close my eyes every time he takes them out.
I might have to do some more research on this Rodriguez because I haven't found too much on him, but
he's 17 years old. He's probably in the Dominican League.
Yeah, he is. He's in rookie ball. He is from DR. He's born and raised there. So
that was man. I don't know if y'all have ever been. While we're waiting for these shows to come in, if y'all haven't ever been down to the Dominican Republic to watch the Winter League, I went down there and covered that league for about 2 weeks back in January. Man, if you're a baseball fan, they love baseball down there. And it is an atmosphere unlike anything you've ever seen. There's major leaguers that play down there too during the winter. So highly recommend catching a game down there. They're wild about their baseball.
I'll do more research on this kid, but I probably would have liked to seen something a little better for Pham.
Hey, Yankees
did something.
Let me see what they did.
The Yankees actually did something. Right-handed reliever Keenan Middleton from the White Sox.
Is he a reliever?
We acquired a bullpen piece.
A bullpen piece is what they got. I hit.
With a 3.96 ERA, but his peripherals don't look super encouraging.
For fuck's sake.
Watch the return. What did they get back? Oh, they got back Aaron Judge. This is the team, man.
You're last in the division and you do this?
We'll grab a bullpen piece.
We have a surplus. I don't get it. We have a surplus of bullpen. We have Holmes. We have Peralta. We have King. We just sent down Marinaccio and brought up Johnny Brito. We have Clay Holt. If I didn't mention Clay, oh my, Albert Abreu.
It's so bad.
Crossface Ray, have you guys went on any rants yet? To the respect of my co-hosts, I will not rant. To the respect of my co-hosts, I will not rant.
I am perfectly fine with you ranting, Luca. I've got no issues with it.
No. Like, this is an MLB trade deadline. This is not a Yankees trade deadline. I'm not going to take over the entire show here in respect to all my co-hosts here. Why? Just I'm going to go off a little bit. Why? That's it?
Another trade going on here. Phillies and the Pirates. Phillies are sending Bailey Falter to Pittsburgh for infielder Rodolfo Castro, according to Jason Stark of The Athletic.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That doesn't move the needle.
Here's the list of arms in the Yankee bullpen, and then I will shut up. Albert Abreu, Ian Hamilton, Clay Holmes, Tommy Kahnle, Michael King, Wandy Peralta, and Nick Ramirez. That's 7 bullpen arms. You could call Marinaccio up. Kanon Middleton. Who knows who we sent for him? That's such a weird move.
Brad with the quote of the year. I don't know what to say to that.
It's like we don't need bullpen help necessarily. Has the bullpen sometimes been underwhelming? Sure. Just take a look at the long-term vision, please. That's
so.
I don't know.
Dylan needs to stay and put. He's not being traded. According to Bob Nightingale.
Yeah, I saw that too. So it looks like they don't like what the Dodgers had to offer them.
I guess so. I mean, what were they going to offer? Top prospects?
Probably. And it looks like Eloy Jimenez is staying at White Sox as well.
This is ridiculous, man. I can't.
The Yankees, we need outfield help. Brian Cashman, we'll get another pitcher.
Don't worry, guys. Jake Bauers will save the day.
It looks like going back in the Cardinals deal is Cuban infielder Cesar Prieto from the O's system. So he might be a...
Okay, Prieto. I'm going to see if he's a prospect. I'll double check.
Bob just added in saying it's 6 p.m. Eastern. The trade deadline is over, but plenty of trades will start trickling in over the next 30 to 40 minutes.
Oh, yeah, we'll give us a few. 16th ranked prospect in the Orioles system, by the way. He has an ETA of next year. He's in AAA. 24 years old in AAA. He's actually hitting 349 on the season.
Okay.
I don't know how many games he's played. 349, on-base percentage of 393, OPS 868, 6 homers, 49 RBIs, and he's been obviously, I should say he's actually hit 349 combined between AA and AAA, but 364 AA, 27 games in AAA, 317. So not bad. I like that return personally. But it's funny to me, like, I'm not sure if go ahead.
Sorry, the other piece in that O's trade going to the Cardinals is left-hander Drew Rom.
Okay.
So those are the two prospects that.
Drew Rom. Okay. Drew. Number 18, also a AAA prospect, but has an ETA of this year actually.
Mm-hmm.
Look at his numbers too.
Not a bad return for Flaherty. 2 AAA guys.
I'm interested. Obviously, Flaherty's having a bad season, so was Fujinami. I'm interested in why the Orioles went after those two, because those two are kind of like reclamation projects unless they believe they can fix them.
That's probably their thinking. Maybe they believe that they can.
Yeah, it's kind of like a buy low scenario, but except you're buying a little higher on Jack Flaherty. Rom's this season, not great numbers in AAA, or I should say in the in AAA, 7.6, 19 games, 18 starts, 5.34 ERA, 2.91 opposing average, 1.7 WHIP, strikeouts 186 innings. So the ERA is a little up. I don't know the advanced metrics to go with that, but just a regular AAA arm, I guess. But not bad return in my opinion. Well, yep, saw that. Cashman had another Alfredo Garcia deadline.
Oh, now I get the clarification from Brad. I hope everything's going good with you, man.
Yeah, he just went into remission from his prostate cancer. He told us just yesterday, so he's cancer-free.
Congrats, Brad.
Nice.
Seahawks, Jose says, Middleton, a former Angel, great guy, can't get anyone out. What the fuck are the Yankees doing? He can't get it. Hold on a second. He can't get anyone out.
Oh, my God.
So I'd like to also mention the Erod stuff, okay? Mm-hmm. Eduardo Rodriguez has invoked his no-trade clause with the Dodgers, citing a desire to remain closer to family on the East Coast.
New York Yankees? I'm kidding.
No.
It's not going to happen.
But Crossface Ray, I'm surprised my team made a move, or we are usually prospect huggers. Really?
Well, you guys are in a really good place right now, except you're kind of pulling a Yankee a little bit. You started off on a historic pace, just like the Yankees did last season, and now you're falling down. So you got to get back.
Mets have traded Dominic the Donkey. They have traded Dominic Leone to the Angels.
Where'd you get that?
Will Salmon tweeted out. Mets writer for The Athletic, Ken Rosenthal, retweeted. But, folks, in honor of Dominic the Donkey leaving, we had this special song whenever he would come in to pitch for the Mets because he was so bad. Unfortunately, folks, we have to retire the song, and we'll play it one last time, obviously, before we get back to our trade coverage. This is in tribute to Dominic the Donkey.
Hey, jingity jing, it's Dominic the donkey. Jingity jing, the Italian Christmas donkey. La 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 la.
Retired Dominic the donkey. For some reason I thought he was going to get traded.
Man. Thank the Lord.
We have retired the video, but obviously more trades are coming in.
Jesus. That I don't even care what the return would be for him, but that's a win in itself.
No moves for the Minnesota Twins thus far. Interesting. They did trade, obviously, for Dylan Floro, which was a few days ago, maybe weeks ago.
Tigers did not trade Eduardo Rodriguez.
That's what I thought after invoking the no trade clause.
Yep, so he's not getting traded. And it was mentioned earlier, I think, by Ken also, that what would happen if he doesn't invoke it. Here we go. No, it was Feinsand. He said if he isn't moved and he opts out of his contract, Detroit can make him they cannot extend him a qualifying offer and recruit draft compensation. So I don't know what he was trying to say, but he clearly messed up a thing. He was trying to say, he initially said if he isn't moved and he opts out of his contract, Detroit can make him a qualifying offer and get draft pick compensation should he sign elsewhere. And then Feinsand went back and said he forgot the Red Sox made Erod a qualifying offer in 2021, so Tigers can't extend it and recoup draft compensation. So essentially, I don't know what he's trying to say.
Mark Carrig, I think he works with The Athletic. Yes, he does. Quoting a rival executive said, the Yankees have been frustrating this deadline, who got the sense that they were in between land. They were in between land waiting to be bowled over for their rentals. Sorry, ass organization. Still looking for more trades. I'm loading up my notifications now.
They're going to pour over. There'll be probably a few more, not too many though.
Yeah, we'll give it a few more minutes. Let's see. We got a double lotion session for Feeble John.
Oh no. God, Brad, you're.
Imagine if you get something better for Dominic Leone than what's
it's Shohei Ohtani. Come on.
Oh yeah,
of course,
that's
but
easily.
I've just been told that our buddy Cade has to go. Cade, any final thoughts? We thank you for joining us thus far.
Yeah, guys, this was a lot of fun hanging out with y'all. Fun trade deadline, and I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here and chat with you guys and talk some baseball.
Thank you, man, for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
appreciate it, Cade.
All right, thanks, guys.
Later, man.
Have a good one.
As we see, I'll pull up the name tags as we have them. Let the Yankee rants begin. I'm still not ranting because I'm sorry. I just don't have the energy anymore. I don't.
Don't worry. I didn't have the energy either.
This is the MLB trade deadline. Like, I'm giving respect to my fellow co-host and Angry John, and obviously respect to our chat, because if I rant for like 25 minutes, nobody else is going to be here. And our job here is to gain viewers and gain subscribers, not just to Jeremiah Jackson for Dominic the Donkey.
My favorite Met all time.
The fact that you actually got something for Jeremiah Jackson, he's actually what position does he play? He is a shortstop. Let me see if he was on the top. I doubt he was on the top prospects list. I could be very wrong.
The White Sox say that they are not rebuilding and plan to contend next season, per Bob Nightingale.
How? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Brian. The Mets got a number 9 prospect for Dominic the Donkey. Number 9 in the Angels organization. And further proof, I'm going to share the screen. I'm not joking. This is real. Prospect rankings. Number 9 with an ETA for next year.
Yes. That's great. That's great. That's so good.
We got something for a donkey.
You got something. I thought about it, and I was about to say it a few minutes ago. You got something for better for Dominic the Donkey than you did Tommy Pham.
We did. We legit did. This is hysterical.
A journeyman reliever. Unless somehow they're paying Leone to. Just give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna.
No, they're not paying him anything.
Here. Unreal.
Oh, wait. Another trade from the Mets. The Mets are acquiring pitchers Phil Bickford and Adam Kolarek from the Dodgers.
Who?
Phil Bickford and Adam Kolarek.
Are they prospects?
Number 9.
Phil Bickford and Adam
Kolarek.
What happened?
How do you say it?
They have to be minor leaguers.
What happened? They missed something?
Yes, you did. They apparently traded for 2 more
trade.
pitchers from the Dodgers. That's all I have.
Great.
Bickford, I recognize, and so do I do Kolarek as well.
Ooh, Marlins acquiring first baseman Josh Bell from the Guardians for infielder Gene Segura and infield prospect Khalil Watson. Segura is going to Cleveland.
Wow.
That's a bombshell. The Marlins add a first baseman and a DH bat. Wow.
Bell.
He's not even having the greatest season, though.
No. I mean, Segura isn't either, but.
Segura has not played well this year at all.
No, he hasn't.
No. He was the guy that needed to be traded, and they got him out, and they also got rid of an infield prospect just to get Josh Bell from Cleveland. And
Watson
it makes sense.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Brian, but Watson's number 12 on the prospect list for the Marlins.
I'm also going to add here, I know why they did that. The Marlins made that trade, and Cleveland did that because of who they got in an earlier trade they did from the Savale trade. When they traded him to Tampa, Manzardo, the big name number 4 in their system, he's slotted to come up next year, possibly as a replacement for Naylor or Bell. He's been rising up, and he's been raking in AAA right now. Marlins acquired Josh Bell from Padres for Garrett Cooper.
Garrett Cooper.
That's very weird. That came from Ken.
Whoa. Garrett Cooper?
Yeah, this is very weird. I don't know if Ken's off the meds.
Nightingale. Yeah, I think Ken screwed up because Nightingale's saying Bell's going to the Marlins.
Yeah, he said,
He must be talking about last year, not this year.
Yeah, because Ken is saying that, and then we're getting an source off moment because Paston said it's coming from Cleveland, and Ken's saying it's from the Padres. Which it makes no sense because I don't think Bell was a Padre.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just unretweet that.
Yeah.
But wow, Craig Mish was on it first. Let me check Mish. Mish is always accurate with this Marlins reporting. The Marlins have acquired, let's get the full detail. I'm going to get it right now. The Marlins have acquired first baseman Josh Bell. They traded Garrett Cooper and Sean Reynolds to the Padres for Ryan Weathers. Deal done.
First of all, want to shout out Mr. Cracklenuts, and he says it's Angry John's fault the Yankees made no moves.
No, it's not my fault. It's your sleepy GM's fault.
Feeble GM. How did Epler outdo Brian Cashman at the deadline? Billy fucking Epler, who John has ranted about and yelled about this entire season and how bad he is. Another Mets deal, Armin says. I got to find this. Oh, that's right.
No way. What is going on?
The Kolarek and Bickford thing is just because they need arms to get through this rest of the season. That's really why they did that.
That's fine.
Sherman also said they are not trading Ottavino
Give me 1 second, guys.
That is fine by me.
You're fine.
Oh, so this is looking like the trade summary that the Padres are. Wait.
I'm telling you, this is so weird. Padres are getting.
Did a 3-game deal happen?
They must be a separate trades, maybe. Because it says here the Padres acquire Garrett Cooper from the Marlins, and the Guardians are getting Segura and Khalil Watson from Miami, and Bell went to Miami. So maybe if you want to look at it from a 3-team perspective, that makes sense. But this is very complicated. Nobody's being transparent here.
Yeah, we got to.
I'm shocked Luca's not even being transparent. There you go. Ken corrected it. Marlins acquired Josh Bell from the Guardians. There we go. He corrected it.
Yep, Guardians get Segura and Khalil Watson. There's the.
I am back.
Well, I will say for sure, now I'm definitely going with my Marlins friend, and we're going to a Mets game to root against you guys in September. Absolutely happening now.
Oh, Brian, what a big shot Brian is. Rudy,
I'm going to wear all the Marlins gear.
Give it up to Brian,
I'm going off. Listen, I told you, Yankees will always be my team. But I will always have a soft spot for the Miami Marlins.
You picked his poison.
So, I'll be there for them. Anytime I get to root against the Mets is beauty.
And when the
Marlins are also the Yankees traded high A starting pitcher Juan Corella for Kaynon Middleton. The Marlins have also acquired Ryan Weathers from the Padres for Garrett Cooper and Shaw
So
Reynolds.
yeah, that was another. Yeah, that's what I was reporting on. The Padres
okay, so it was
Garrett
two
Cooper
separate deals.
and Ryan Weathers. Yep, Ryan Weathers is now a Marlin, a lefty.
All right, let's see where you.
Sherman almost gave me a heart attack. I read it as the Yankees have optioned reliever Kenyon Middleton from the White Sox. I read it as optioned.
If they did that.
He wrote obtained. He didn't even say option. He said obtained.
Right.
Dude, he's killing me. Yo, the Marlins, though, wow. They really went out. They went all out for this.
Is Garrett Cooper even having that good of a season?
He wasn't great. Garrett Cooper, statistically, I'll tell you in a sec. He really wasn't having a great year.
Let me take a look at this, man.
256, 13 homers, 46 RBIs.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
So then why would you trade for Josh Bell, though?
No, but this is a separate trade. That's a separate one.
Because they're shipping out.
I just got it. It's separate.
Crossface Ray says Yankees hate building up prospects and they much rather have people out of their prime. They hype up their prospects and then they misuse their prospects. And they play around with them like they're little toys. Yeah, they'd rather have people out of their prime because Brian Cashman has his ego from here to South Dakota.
I'm actually looking to see Ryan Weathers. Isn't he a major leaguer? Or am I crazy?
He was a starter. I don't know if he's still a starter, but I know he did start.
He is in, let's see, from the Padres. Oh, he's not doing great this year. Not at all. 1-6, a 6.25 ERA.
The Dodgers have acquired Ryan Yarborough from the Royals.
Had to know that was coming. I heard he was on the market to be moved.
Mm-hmm.
From Juan Toribio.
They wanted to get some sort of arm, and after
Armin says Cooper and Choi will platoon for the Padres.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you, man, the Guardians. Nightingale just confirmed what I said. The Guardians had no room for Josh Bell once they acquired first base prospect Manzardo yesterday. If they didn't trade him now, they would have unloaded him during the winter. So they traded him. They get back Segura, hoping to maybe revive him, and they get a minor league infielder out of it. Marlins again staying active as expected.
The Red Sox are trading for Luis Urias.
Urias, okay, that's a bold one.
Luis, where is he from again? He's from
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. Okay.
Do I have a Jeff Passan tweet? Yeah, it's the same thing.
Urias is in AAA right now with Nashville.
Yeah, I don't think that's. He used to be a top prospect, but
I guess they're buying low on him just as a lateral move, minor move.
This is
not even doing good in AAA this year.
A lot of pour over, but it's all like there really hasn't been a major trade. I think outside of that Josh Bell trade, that was it.
I think the biggest deal was the Verlander deal today.
Yeah.
And the Blue Claws just updated their lineup without Hao-Yu Lee in it. I am sad.
John, how did Billy Epler outsmart Brian Cashman by getting a 9th overall prospect for Dominic the Donkey?
Hey, jiggity jig, it's Dominic the Donkey. Jiggity jig, it's Dominic the Donkey.
You can thank him. You can thank him for helping you get that.
Surprisingly,
let's look at Jackson, folks. He was a 2018 draft.
I got his numbers here. He's got 15 homers and 56 RBIs in 82 games. It's not like great, but it's not horrible.
No, I know.
It's not like He's how old is he? He's 23 years old, and it's Double-A. So it's like, okay,
He is defined as a good athlete who runs well and has a good arm. Jackson was a shortstop when he first signed, but has more positions added to his repertoire. So not only that, but he's also not only a shortstop, but he can play other positions.
Completely mixed up.
Brian, what are you listening to?
Brian?
I'm going 10-1.
What happened?
What are you listening to?
Did he just tune out again?
No, I swear to God, it's a fancy. I mean this so seriously. I just got a text from my fantasy football chat, and they started doing the draft order. So they sent videos, and they blamed me because I have a Samsung. That they couldn't do it on FaceTime. They're pissed at
We're
me.
doing fantasy football now. It's August 1st.
You tell me their draft is at the end of the preseason, and they're doing the order now.
What? Why are they doing this now?
I don't know. This is what they're doing. So I know.
But to go back to Jackson, he was a shortstop when he first signed, has more positions, plays a lot of second, but also learning third and left field. Hopefully finding approach and sticking to it, which he will hopefully reach his considerable offensive ceiling in age 23. He did cut down on strikeouts, which is a good thing.
You know, and
he makes consistent hard contact.
This isn't bad. I'm not mad. I can't be mad.
Oh, wait,
Steve Cohen is heading to Kansas City with the Mets, I guess.
Is he gonna have a presser, I'm assuming?
Still trying to find out some more news, folks.
How did
Dominic the Donkey?
No. Hey, jiggity jig. It's Dominic the Donkey.
Brendan Cootie says that probably not the best time to hear that the Yankees had one of their most veteran scouts watching the Padres this week, hoping San Diego would consider a sale. Anthony, wear that thing with fucking pride. Wear that thing with fucking pride because the Yankees are a sham organization.
Sham.
But what's up? We gave up a young arm for a rental. He's a free agent?
Middleton?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. I thought you knew that. Oh.
We have outfield problems. Yet this bald moron trades, let's get a reliever. Let's get a reliever because we don't totally have like 7 of them. We don't have 7 relievers. Oh, it's okay. We got Jake Bowers and Giancarlo Stanton and Harrison
Billy
Bader and all these different morons in the outfield. Billy McKinney. Oh, we don't need an outfield. We can
go ahead.
Let it year. We're not a winning organization.
Let it out, Luca. Go ahead.
A rental reliever? You were just talking about at the trade deadline potentially trading your rentals like Bader, Severino, Peralta. What is this team? What is this team? Mets got rid of everyone. You're welcome for Bickford, says Daniel Berry Sports. Mm-hmm. Tacoma just tweeted, the Mets will call up Rafael Ortega, John Curtis, Michael Perez, and Josh Walker.
The All-Stars, yes.
None of them being Ronnie Mauricio.
How wonderful.
You know what? Let's got something. Scott Barlow's on the move.
Let's
from
see.
The Royals.
San Diego Padres.
He was going to
be. They had a bullpen on.
Who was talking about Scott Barlow? I think it was Eric or Cade when it came to they're surprised not being a move.
It was Eric. I'm sorry, but I can't remember who brought it up.
Wowza, they're going full Yankees. No Bolton. What's up, Sunil? Hope all is well. Aaron needs a lifetime extension. I never want to see him leave. Yeah. Okay, that's right, because you're a Rays fan. I forgot. I gotta. Que paso, hombres? Go Yankees. I hate the Rays. Rogers did nothing. Verlander should have stayed with Houston. Well, technically, he was like, it's funny because he was in New York for half a year. I knew the Yankees were. This organization has gone so far. I'm honestly going to create a short after this. And I'm going to create like a short kind of rant because I know Alex is out of training camp right now. I know. Let him focus on the Giants. Let him focus on the Giants, and then I'll post the rant of me fucking going off on this team. Fucking unbelievable. We need outfield help, and no, we'll get Kaynon Middleton, who can't get anybody out. We need bullpen help. That's what we need. Pitching help, yay. Even though we were considering trading for fucking Sonny Gray again. This organization is so far left and so far dysfunctional. God fucking help me.
It's a life. It's the life of a Yankee fan.
But we're going to hear at the end of the season, it's all okay. It's all okay. You know, Aaron Judge was hurt for half the season. That's why we didn't make the playoffs. You know, it's all okay. It's all okay in Yankee land because it's all okay. I talked about it yesterday. Everything is okay. You know, Harrison Bader could jog to first. It's okay. He's not hustling. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. It's okay. It's all okay.
It's the hard knock life. For us. It's the hard knock life for us. Instead of treated, we get tricked. Instead of kisses, we get kicked.
It's the hard knock life. Fielder playing the. Of course not. Of course not, Mr. Crossface.
We haven't seen Luca get this bad in a while.
It's a. First of all, I want to say to Crossface Ray, as a Rays fan, you're obviously allowed in here at all times. Elite level trolling, by the way. But you go, how blind is this organization? And everybody was giving credit to Hal Stein. Everybody was giving credit to Hal Steinberg in the offseason because, you know, he re-signed Aaron Judge. You know, he pushed for Rodon. Kiss my ass with that shit. Miss me with that shit.
Wow. Brendan Cuddy just said Yankees put the dead in trade deadline.
Ooh.
He really did.
Hold on. Thank you, Discro, for bringing it up because... Hold on. Photos coming.
Right. He's got it. Give him a sec, ladies and gents.
Gotta find it.
Wait, I'm going to go stop my cam for a sec to get a photo too.
Gotta find it. Come on. Where is it? Gotta find
I'm staying right here because this is what Cashman deserves.
Incoming.
It's not what you want.
It's not what you want, baby. I gotta find my old photo I have of the Yankees Three Stooges picture.
Angry Luca. Get the gamma radiation away from the motherfucker. Put him in the bathroom. Get him out of here. Ambrick says Hicks got a better chance to get a ring than Judge.
Who would have said that?
What have I? When people ask me, and there was people that asked me this question, I'm going to be real. What did you think of, you know, the Yankees? Yeah, the Yankees won not a World Series. I'm sorry. They won a series against the Royals. They swept them. Are you happy? No, I'm not happy. I'm not happy that this team is where they are. I'm really not.
Should I throw in my Pedro Martinez Yankee remarks? Is this an appropriate time?
By the way, Fruity says, is rookie left fielder Cade Marlowe keeps playing like he do you think the Mariners will consider selling Kelenic? I got to look up Cade Marlowe. I've never heard of him.
Hey
but
guys,
Fruity, thank you for
got
joining
a photo
us.
for you. I've updated my background.
Okay.
Give me one second there, Brian.
I literally turned it on for green screen. Where is it? Where are you? Come on.
Try virtual background.
Kidding. I did.
Try the virtual, yeah.
You can upload it.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep, there you go.
I got it.
You guys see it now? Okay.
Yep.
Say it, guys. Say hello to my three cousins. Say hello to my three cousins here. Part of the clown family.
We got dumb, dumber, and what do you call it? Dumb, and just dumb.
Dumber, and dumberest.
No,
that's
dumbest.
Amberix, great point. Pirates got a better return for a 43-year-old Dick Mountain.
Yes, sir. The GOAT.
Obviously not, Crossface Ray. Obviously not. Fujinami has a better chance to win a ring in his first season in the MLB than the Yankees have in the next three. Unfortunately, Scroll, you are absolutely right. Because this team ain't winning fuck under these three idiots.
Mm-hmm. If you guys are new here, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe
please
button.
do.
And if
please
you can share out, we would
right
appreciate
now.
it. we all appreciate the comments and questions that we've been getting for the past almost 3 hours now. So
I gotta find a screenshot. Hold on, because there's a certain screenshot of three fish in SpongeBob that epitomize how Steinbrenner, Brian.
I know what he's talking about too.
The 3 fish.
Would this happen to be the light bulbs with Sandy episode?
Is it? Let's try and communicate with it. Hold on. I gotta find it.
You're gonna find it, dude. Come on.
Here you go, everybody. Let's share the screen.
Ready? Are we ready to make the noise?
Do it.
You got 1, 2, 3. Tagline: Aaron Boone, Brian Cashman, and Hal Steinbrenner. I'm sorry,
team.
folks. I'm just going off at this point. We'll be live for a few more minutes, by the way. The Royals will receive Devin Mann and Derlin Figueroa. The Yankees acquiring another pitcher from the Texas Rangers, Spencer Howard.
We did what?
We acquired Spencer Howard.
Isn't he the old Phillies prospect?
I think you're right, John.
Royals are getting Devin Mann and Derlin Figueroa from the Dodgers for Yarborough. And Bradley Blalock, right-hander, going to Milwaukee from the Red Sox in the Urias trade.
Spencer Howard has a 5 ERA in AAA this year.
Yeah, he's pretty much a reclamation project.
Thanks, Cashman.
Jeffrey with a question for me. He says, Angry John, I know you follow the National League. Well, I follow baseball. But he says, what do you think of the new Boston Red Sox play who's coming from Milwaukee? Are you talking about Arias? I think it's more of a reclamation project, to be honest. He was a good prospect a few years ago, but I don't know I haven't watched him, religiously, so I can't say what the major problem is. I'd have to do more research, but I think it's like a low buy for the Red Sox there. And that's right. Howard was a first-round pick from the Phillies, but
Can't wait for the shift and Derek reaction.
Yeah,
I ought to call Alex after the show. I'm like, hey, Alex. Oh, look, he's already in the chat right now. Let's get to 20 likes. Hey, Alex, how do you like the Yankees got Spencer Howard, a reclamation project, and Kanan Middleton? But we don't need outfield help, by the way. Let me ask this. How could you be a Yankee fan and not be pissed off right now?
Exactly.
I hope they miss the playoffs, and they deserve to miss the playoffs.
How am I going to rally myself to go to the Astros game on Sunday? How am I going to do it?
Besides NY News TV Day, in which I'm happy to show up for my company, and we do great things over there, which we're the voice of Yankee fans. We hope to be. We're going to continue to grow. 18,000, probably going to get to 20,000 by the end of the year, maybe more. Besides that day, I ain't showing up to fuck for the Yankees.
This team is a disgrace.
The Mets did more at the deadline. The Mets actually pivoted into a different direction.
I'm happy with the direction they went in.
And they decided we're just going to sell, and just build up the youth. And you know what? I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at the decision.
Well, let me see.
I'm sure John's disappointed because you just look back at what you did this offseason compared to now.
No, let me make something clear. The Mets failed the season. I don't care about I know we pivoted.
Warren is lost by indecision, then wrong decision.
Mm-hmm. What I was saying was, believe me, this is a failed season. Like Epler and Buck.
Oh yeah,
this was failed from about a month or two ago. But at least now they're in a transition of, hey, you know what? Let's go and go get prospects. Okay, let's build a good farm system.
That's how you build a proper team, through the farm system, and then you add supplements through the free agency.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. You're absolutely
Squirrel says Mets are definitely pivoting and reloading. Good to acknowledge mistakes and make the proper adjustments. Luca, I don't think we don't know how to react, laugh or scream the shit out or lump. When they lost to the Orioles on Friday, when Canely gave up that walk-off homer to Santander, I laughed my ass off. I'm like, yeah, I knew they were going to lose. Yes, they were going to lose. Knew it.
It's a hard nut life.
Gene Segura will be released by the Cleveland Guardians. He won't even stay on the team.
Wow, they pretty much just said that we're gonna trade Josh Bell, right? And we're gonna get rid of whatever we can. And the only player we're gonna take on is so bad that we don't even want you to play for us. That's how bad Segura's been this year. Like that's how awful he's been.
Tim Healy said, Buck Showalter said developing players will be a tiebreaker for the rest of the season. That is why Vientos will be DH tonight, for example, and probably will play more the next 2 months.
Finally! Oh, all right. Good. I'm glad they're realizing they know how to play. It only took a few months. I may have saw it in May, but I'm glad finally we're going to play the kids more. Hey, Licata, I wonder where that moron is now. Are we done playing the kids? Are we going to not play them anymore?
Wait, you know what? Hold on. I was actually supposed to bring up a point when it came to. I think Cade was on. We were talking about the Padres and the Mets, different directions. First of all, I want to answer this question: how many times do you think Aaron Boone's going to pick his nose tonight? Over, under 4. But with that, when Cade was talking about, the Padres, they don't want to go off of their mistakes. They want to, play the guys that are on their payroll, and the Mets wanting to play the kids. The Padres are the Sal Licata team.
Licata team. I feel bad for that. I feel bad for whoever knows him.
What a return. So we got a return from the Padres trade. The Royals are getting right-handed pitcher Henry Williams from the Padres as part of the return for Barlow. Williams is San Diego's number 10 prospect.
That's a pretty good prospect for a reliever.
Not bad. And with the release by the Guardians of Segura, he's owed the rest of his salary this year, which is then $8.5 million for next season, plus a $2 million buyout for 25.
John, I'm sorry to interrupt, Brian. We got another WFAN moron that John probably needs to tweet at. This is Tommy Lugauer, the executive producer of Evan and Tierney. Evan and Tiki. The word rebuild should never be used by a team owned by Steve Cohen. I am pissed, and we should all be furious if this is accurate. It's about reloading. This era of Mets baseball was supposed to be different. What happened to the 5-year plan?
Okay. Yeah, obviously we know the 5-year plan isn't working. What's his name again?
Tommy Lugauer. Lugauer.
Lugauer.
I'll send you the tweet on Twitter if you want.
I'll find him. No, wait. No, I won't. Yeah, send me in, please. Send me in.
What a complete bozo. Stent. How about the cash considerations in trade for Spencer Howard? So please tell me why we had to take him on. Please. I'll make 6:45 our cutoff time. Okay, is that all right with you guys? 6:45.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, good.
Let me start writing him.
3 hours into this stuff. But there was this other Mets fan who was complaining that the Mets didn't get any pitching besides Bickford and Kolarek.
Well, let him complain because I'm writing a nice tweet here.
There it is. Jeff Passan just confirmed it. The MLB trade deadline is officially over, and I'm going to have a date with an ice pack and some extra strength Tylenol. Thanks for following.
You know what I found funny? I found funny when these writers try to fall over themselves to try to be the first out there when they misspell names. You saw with John Heyman, Choi and whoever going to the Osares or Oasres. That's a real tweet, by the way. Bob Nightingale and Ken Rosenthal misspelling. It's just so funny because they want the creds first. Here's a good question. Who has been more disappointing this year, the Yankees or Mets?
Ooh, good question. Good question.
I mean, the Mets are expected to take that step forward, even though they didn't really add much.
It's going to be Mets.
The Mets.
I mean, everybody expects the Yankees to go to the World Series every year, but you know what? To be fair, I didn't expect much from this team because look what he's pointing at, John. Look what he's pointing at. The Mets hat.
I'm writing my tweet. Hold up.
Oh.
That is the team who is more disappointing this year. Just because
they're more disappointing, but the Yankees are more incompetent. I'll argue that.
Yes, the incompetence of the Yankees is dumbfounding. I don't understand how they still make ways for me to be speechless with the things they do. And that's very hard to do, is to get me to be shutting up because of how bad it is. But for the Mets, the problem is they were the most disappointing because they had the highest payroll in baseball, record-breaking payroll, and it completely backfired on them.
I agree.
And because of that, they did the smart thing and blew it all up.
Luca, I put my tweet out there for anyone who wants to go see it.
When it rains, it pours, Jets mess says, and I completely agree.
Yep, this is perfect. This is a perfect tweet to send.
Kane Middleton.
Oh, there's another prospect that went the Cardinals' way, according to Josh Jacobs. Zach Showalter is the name, the third prospect in the deal. But it doesn't look like anything else is coming in. And if anyone, Luca, would you like to read my? Or should I read it, or I felt that was nice.
I'll read it.
Okay, you could read it
to this moron, Luke Gower. Angry John, excuse me, sir, but do you not watch baseball or live in the real world? The Mets are not a playoff team because the roster Apple built and sadly had no choice but to sell. Do us a favor and actually watch baseball before you tweet.
That was nice.
That was nice.
I wasn't mean. I gave him a suggestion.
There's sadly the people that agree with this moron, but there's more people that agree with you.
You can agree with however you want, but this is what they have to do.
Here is a breakdown. Armin, thank you for sending me this, by the way. The Mets, here's a little breakdown. I'm actually going to share this. Yeah, I could share it. Armin sent me a breakdown of what the Mets traded away and what they've acquired through, obviously, the trading season, should we call it that. Wonder how Carlos Rodon's armpit's doing tonight. Well, talking about Domingo Germán because he had the hurt armpit. And he somehow pitched yesterday, which is beyond me, but that's regardless. I stand with John Fuck Tommy.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Armin.
Rodon used deodorant, so he should be fine tonight. It was Germán.
Is that the reason why, the lack of deodorant?
So here you go. If you look at it closely, they've traded away Easy Out Escobar, Zach Muckenherd, David Robertson, Max Scherzer, Mark Canha, Justin Verlander, cash, lots of cash, Dominic the Donkey, and Tommy Pham for Coleman Crowe, Landon Marceau, Trevor Gott, Marco Vargas, Ronald Hernandez, Luis Angel Acuna, Justin Jarvis, Drew Gilbert, Ryan Clifford, Jeremy Rodriguez, Phil Bickford, and Adam Kolarek.
Okay, a lot of youth. We're gonna see what happens, but again, just remember the kids. The kids. Now when you look at the Mets prospects, right?
Right.
I'd say there's the top 4 guys are the guys that I'm really excited for. There's like some others that could work out, but you don't know. But the 4 guys in our system that I have excitement for, Parada, I think might be the number 1. It's either him or Acuna, but I always am intrigued with catchers. But Parada, Acuna, Mauricio, and Drew Gilbert.
Okay.
You can throw others in there like a Jet Williams, an Alex Ramirez, a Ryan Clifford now, a Marco Vargas, a Blade Tidwell, a Vassell, a Hamill. Maybe you're more excited about those guys, but those top 4 guys are the guys I'm looking forward to.
Crouching on the final minute over stream. Jack, what's up, bro? It says Cashman's a joke. I'm done too. But yeah. That's a hard reset, says Disgruntled regarding the Mets. But I'd like to share a tweet and a clip. This is run by 4 Train Savages, and it's a great tweet because it makes so much sense regarding this team. And we'll share it right now. The caption is, what are the Yankees? And the caption and the answer to this is
this today's?
No.
Oh.
It wasn't today.
Clown show.
I don't like that show, but what are the Yankees? Again, this wasn't obviously today. What are the Yankees? The tweet was made today. Answer: they're a clown show.
Clown show.
But
Clown show.
Stanton needs stem cell surgery. Okay.
That is. I should have been laughing, but that is.
Why stem cell?
Stem cell surgery. My God.
Seems like lobotomy.
You people are horrible sometimes. You make me laugh. I'll give you that.
And that was the Rays fan.
I know.
Yep.
I know.
Just got to look up something real quick, and then I'll give everybody their final thoughts. The Royals have also acquired Henry Baez from the Padres. I'm going to look where he is on the prospect list. Baez is okay. He's not a prospect. So regardless, I'm going to start with Bad Takes Brian, Angry John, and then myself for final thoughts because the Yankees are a disaster. But regardless, I want to recap the entire trade deadline. In a few sentences, you can. So final thoughts, we'll start with Brian.
All right. The best way to recap it, Texas is definitely going to the World Series. I'll start with that. I really do think it. I think the Rays and Orioles don't have what it takes to take them down. Orioles don't have the experience. And that the Rays themselves, I think don't have an overall complete nature of their lineup to bring them far. I think the rotation's really heavy on McClanahan, and nothing's going to change that. And I think for their bats, I think with Randy, their bats are not what it should be. I think Texas blows them out of the water. The only thing that stops them is Houston. As for the Yankees, go F yourself. What is wrong with you? So many problems. It blows my mind that for 3 years I've been screaming, get Cashman out of New York, get Boone out of New York, and nothing has happened. In fact, I'm calling for it now. Tonight, all Yankee fans, when they go to the games, should sit there in silence the whole game. Silence.
They're not going to do that, but I agree with you. Also,
completely silent.
Start chanting fire Cashman too, because I know there's a small chant, but there's the bleacher creatures who don't have the balls to chant that, and I'm daring them to have the balls to chant that, but they don't have the balls to chant that.
How about this? Give them the balls to chant "sell the team." Give them the balls to say "sell the team," just like the Mets did to get the Wilpons to sell. We got to do it now. We got to do it.
Fans need to get out of their head out of the clouds. Sir John, your final thoughts. Obviously, you're a very happy man.
I can't be upset. They sold like I asked them to, and we got some good prospects. We got some lower level prospects, but that's okay. The rebuild is here. So I know this team is going to suck on the field, but you know what? At least they picked a direction, and I think they made the right choice.
Dominic, it still amazes me. Dominic the Donkey for a 9th overall prospect. The Angels are on drugs. But anyways, who could effectively lead the Yankees as an owner? Not Hal Stooge Steinbrenner. But as my mic falls down, thank you guys for coming in. We did about almost 3.5 hours of trade deadline coverage. We thank Cade for coming on. We thank Eric for coming on, giving their analysis thoughts. Did a very good job. Thank you for Brian coming on. We obviously gave our thoughts. The Yankees are a clown show. Texas Rangers made some nice moves at the deadline. Scherzer, Chris Stratton. They traded for Austin Hedges, obviously for the catcher needs, but not as exciting as we like it to be. But there was some latter, trades closer to the 6 o'clock hour. But Brad says after stream, Feeble going to town on his lotion bottles.
Oh my God!
But yes, Mr. Brad. But we thank you all in the chat once again. Thursday we will be live for the Hall of Fame game. Jets Browns. I think it's like 8:30 p.m. We will also have a roster bubble video every day for the New York Giants. Alex will be in charge of that. He's at training camp right now. He's going to give his training camp recap from tonight, I believe. But Yeah, it's a hard knock life if you're a Yankee fan. If you're an every other team fan, you're laughing at us. But regardless, it is 6:49, almost 6:50 in the 7 o'clock hour. We appreciate you all being here, and we will see you all later. Have a good night.